Council to be in session on the special meeting for the budget. We have Mr. Alatorre, Mr. Fuhr, Ms. Misakowski, Mrs. Walters. We have 5 members, we need 5 more for a quorum. Sergeant, can you go see if you can find, we have Mr. Alarcon, Mr. Alatorre, Mrs. Chick, Mr. Fuhr, Ms. Goldberg, Ms. Mistakowski, Mrs. Walters. Yeah, I'm calling those that are here. If the other members can get down here, maybe we can get this done before Nate Holden gets here. Council will please come to order. I think we have a quorum. Call the roll.
Alacon, Alatorre, Bernson, Chick, Fury, Galanter, Gober, Hernandez, Holden, Miskowski, Ridley, Thomas, Savorni, Wax, Walters, Ferraro. 10 council members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, this is a special meeting of the City Council on May 18th, 1998. There are 15 council districts in the city. The regular meeting days are Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We are currently being viewed by cable subscribers throughout the Los Angeles area on Channel 35. We're also being monitored by council phone. Now, as I point out, this is a special meeting that deals solely with the budget. And so the first order of business.
There's a required hearing on the budget, Mr. President. I
All
don't
right,
know when
is there
you'd like to
anybody in
take
the
that up.
chamber that wants, do we have people that want to be heard?
Yes.
Okay, we have people that want to be heard, so. George Eglenhauser, Philip Marini, if you want to speak, go ahead.
George Eigenhauser. Is this on?
Yes.
My name is George Eigenhauser. I'm here speaking on behalf of the Los Colores Cat Club, although I happen to reside in the city of San Diego. Los Colores Cat Club is a CFA club with its principal membership here in the city of Los Angeles. We've held cat shows in the city of Los Angeles over the last 20 years. Our most recent cat show was this past August in the convention center downtown. As cat lovers, we feel we have a stake in the affairs of this city, and we're here to speak out against the cat licensing proposal, which is part of the budget.
Do you want me to change the screen to the speakers?
Different speakers today will speak on the specific costs of cat licensing in terms of what they do to reclaim rates at shelters, to adoption rates, and to other things. How the projections by the department as to income are unrealistic. But I'd like to speak about a slightly different issue, the indirect cost of a proposal like this. The department's own estimates are that cat licensing would optimistically produce a 5% compliance rate. That's their target figure, not mine. But you have to look at that from the other side. A 5% compliance rate is a 95% non-compliance rate. That's their presupposition. It's hard to believe that this council could get behind a proposal that 95% of the cat owners would disregard. In a democracy such as ours, to some extent, I hope, government exists by consent of the governed. There are and have been bad laws in the past, from the Boston Tea Party to the failure of prohibition, to the 55-mile-an-hour speed limit that turned out to be impossible to enforce. Bad laws has a way of being disregarded. There are direct costs associated with cat licensing, but there's an indirect social cost too. When you turn 95% of all cat-owning families into criminals, you foster a disrespect for all laws in this city, in this county, and in this country. It's important that there be a sense of...
We have other people that want to be heard on the same subject, so please, I'm going to restrict the time.
Okay, how much time do I have left?
Well, you've exceeded it, but go ahead.
Okay. Then I will relinquish the...
Okay, well, we've Phil Marini and then Philip Lindsay, and I think you're all here on the cat issue, so...
This is another cat mark.
Okay, that's fine. Phil Lindsay, and then Carolyn Oster.
Your Honor, does that mean I have 6 minutes? And
No.
okay.
2 minutes.
Phil, you might want to come back. Then.
You can have a little more than that because you're taking his time too, but...
Thank you, Your Honor. Philip Lindsley, I represent. Philip Lindsley, I represent the Cat Fanciers Association. Your Honor, I have council members. I do have some handouts. I was told to make that statement. And the
Sergeant, would you take those?
The Cat Fanciers Association, Your Honor, and council members, which is an international association representing cat lovers, including the substantial numbers of members here in the city of LA. And I'm here today speaking on behalf of cat lovers everywhere and those in the city of Los Angeles. We have been tracking cat licensing and the success rates of these programs throughout the country for at least 10 years now. And I personally have been looking and reading these reports and results as well. Municipalities that enacted these type of proposals 5-10 years ago largely did it on faith based on representations of proponents. You have the benefit of something they did not have. You have the benefit, if you care to look at it, of the results of those areas and municipalities that in fact tried these programs. And I would suggest that you should not ignore that data. I have passed out a particular report, and I'll mention why I think it may be particularly relevant, that was done on the instruction of the San Diego County Board of Supervisors a few years ago. They asked a citizens committee to look into this issue when their department was proposing cat licensing. They had a very interesting protocol. They sent out through their Department of Animal Control a questionnaire to every animal control department in the state of California and everyone known anywhere in the country to have instituted mandatory cat licensing. We asked for a series of specific pre- and post-cat licensing measures on what we thought were relevant variables. Shelter populations, euthanasia rates, claim rates, compliance rates. I mentioned and have passed out this report because one of the responding agencies was the County of Los Angeles, which I think is very relevant to the discussion here. Their data was very similar to what we found on a national level. LA County had an extremely low compliance level, 1%. They noted immediately after the institution of cat licensing a rise in euthanasia rates,
Okay,
a drop in claim rates of 32%, a rise in the shelter population. These programs, wherever they've been tried, are also losing money. That's why it's very relevant here at a budget discussion. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you very much.
Just 1 minute more. Just a short. I can wrap up in just 30, 40 seconds, Your Honor. These enforcement costs, invariably you're asked to look at very, very rosy compliance levels. This 5% compliance level that Mr. Eigenhauser mentioned is just not going to work. It was 1% in the county, and their dog licensing rates are greater than the cities. So it arguably would be even lower here. This program will not pay for itself. It hasn't paid for itself anywhere it's been tried. I really urge that you look at the report that's been passed out and the materials that review other municipalities' experience. Thank you very much.
Carolyn Oster. Now, you gave your time to him. No, you gave your time. I let him speak extra long. Lorraine Sheldon would be next.
Carolyn Ozier, representing the Burmese Club of Southern California. Again, we have a constituency here in the city of Los Angeles who are cat owners and who are voters, and they are very upset with this proposal. It purports to create licensing for cats in order to increase redemptions at the city shelters and to reduce euthanasia. We have more than sufficient statistics. Some of them you have, some of them you will get, all of them you have available to you to indicate that neither of those things ever happens with cat licensing. Euthanasia goes up, redemptions go down, and therefore the cost to the city is going to go up. It is unreasonable to plan to spend $160,000. I know that may sound like just a drop in the bucket in the entire budget for this city, but to taxpayers, that's not a drop in the bucket. That's $160,000 that could be spent on neuter spay programs, which work. The city of Los Angeles is very, very successful in reducing cat euthanasia figures. Last year, they euthanized 2,786 fewer cats than the year before. This is attributable directly to neuter spay information. And yet you cut that information out of the budget and you put in a licensing proposal, which will result in a negative flow of cash into the city's coffers and will also result in animal deaths.
Thank you. Lorraine Sheldon and then Charles Ober.
My name is Lorraine Shelton. I'm just speaking as a taxpayer who lives in the city of Los Angeles. I do not want $160,000 of my money being spent for a program that offers me no benefits and no benefits to my pets. First of all, they say that cats that are going to be claimed from the shelters will go up. Well, they certainly haven't in Los Angeles County, where this cat licensing was tried. In fact, cats being claimed went down by 32%. They tell me that this promotes responsible pet ownership. No, it does not promote responsible pet ownership when you tax people who are going to be responsible pet owners. You discourage responsible pet owners. You actually encourage people who are feeding cats in their neighborhoods to disown those cats, to say, no, those are just the neighborhood cats. Those don't belong to me. I don't have to pay this cat tax. They say that cats have benefited from the spay and neuter that dog licenses have paid for so long. But the Animal Regulations Committee admits that they are not going to be gaining any more money from this cat tax. They say that the program is only going to pay for itself. If it only pays for itself, then it can't raise any funds to be used for spay and neuter vouchers. Then they want to bring up the red herring of rabies prevention, that we're going to save people from catching rabies by vaccinating these cats and mandating that our cats be vaccinated for rabies. There is no cat-transmitted rabies in the state of California. There has never been a case in the state of California. In Southern California, they can't even find a cat that's ever been infected with rabies. Rabies is only something that has to do with Northern California and some remote counties. It does not have anything to do with Los Angeles. I'm not getting anything for my $160,000 except hiring 4 more employees of the city so that they can raise taxes in order to justify their own salaries. I want my money to go for something that's going to service either me or my cats.
Thank you. Charles Ober and then Nancy Wells. And please do not repeat what has been previously said.
Charles Ober. I would like to recommend that the city follow the lead of another urban city that has had a great deal of success in reducing the number of euthanized cats, and they do not license cats. Although they do license dogs, and they have had an increase in the euthanasia numbers for dogs. The name of that city is Los Angeles. One other brief point. We all know where the overpopulation problems are in which councilmanic districts, but I don't think that the Department of Animal Services nor the City Council can identify by community where these population problems are. Our researchers have identified the hot spots in each councilmanic district of where the largest portions of overpopulation are. We've identified it by zip code. And if you'll take the funds allocated for spay and neuter, we would like to offer that data to Animal Services to make spay and neuter clinics the most effective that they can be. Thank you very much.
Nancy Wells, and then Mandy Wu.
I'm Nancy Wells. I wasn't going to speak, I get too nervous, but I'm responsible for putting together this notebook that you all have. I hope you will look at it. I've spent hours and weeks. This was a 60-day survey of your shelters here. And let me tell you, I was really surprised at what I found out. You have had, in all your shelters except for one, a decrease in your cats euthanized, and in every one of your shelters, every district, your dog euthanasia went up last year. It came to 19%. You have a dog problem. Now, if you license these cats, in this research that I put together, it shows that you're going to have an increase in your shelters of minimum 5%, and in some areas it was as much as 124% of the cats. Now, if 5% is 905 cats, think about what 124% increase would cost your city. We're talking money here. You want to save money, then you alter the feral cats that would normally be producing kittens, and those are the cats of the future you will not be euthanizing.
So for someone that didn't want to talk, you're doing a pretty good job.
I have been researching this. Believe me, I believe in this book. And there is just, I understand the city's concern. I was concerned when I read these statistics. But setting aside money that could be used today for a spay-neuter program and putting it aside for a bill that might be passed down in the future and then go back into your general fund is a waste. The animal shelters need that money now, and you will see if you alter 20% decreases.
Okay, thank you. Mandy Woolridge and then Deborah Bradley.
Mandy Woolridge, City of LA taxpayer. We have presented a binder to you. Please read it. The bottom line, proven by our binder, is a cat licensing program will cost the City of LA over $250,000. This is a loss of the $100,000 from the $150,000 that you've allocated. If you please put into effect a trap, alter, and return program, you will not have your feral cat problem in the City of LA. If you do implement cat licensing, your number of cats euthanized will go up by 5%. Please read the binder. A cat tax to the City of LA, to the very stressed population, is very unfair. If you want to be kind to your pets, this is the only way. Deny this money, put it into a spay-neuter voucher program. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Deborah Bradley and then John Webster.
Yeah, I would like to give my time out to Phil Marini.
Okay.
I'm here in behalf of the California State Humane Officer Association to voice our objection to your proposed cat licensing. Our shelters are crowded as it is. This cat licensing fee would propose, pardon me, unnecessary hardship on our senior citizens, our low income, and poor. Many of these folks are on macaroni and cheese in order to pay for their pussycats' food. The licensing is an unnecessary hardship on a part of our population that can barely afford to keep their pets. Neuter and spay is where the money should go. Don't hang these people to force them to put their animals on the street or to put them to sleep. Thank you.
Thank you. John Webster and then Linda Paisani.
Yes, I'm John Webster, and good morning. And I'm against cat taxes. Thank you.
Good. Linda Paisani and then Cynthia St. Clair.
Linda Pisani. I'd like to address the trap, alter, release programs. Realistically, over a 12-year period, one unspayed female cat with all her unspayed female offspring reasonably can be expected to be responsible for over 3,200 kittens if there is no human intervention. During a 2-month survey of Los Angeles city shelters, 97 of the 221 cats reported in the shelter were kittens. 28 of these kittens were unweaned and so became the latest euthanization statistics. Trapping and killing has been used for years as a method of controlling feral cat populations. However, if eradication of programs really worked, we wouldn't be faced with so many stray cats and their offspring at the shelters. Reducing the number of kittens born to these cats would substantially reduce the number of cats euthanized each year. The trap, alter, release program is a humane method of controlling feral cat populations. Thank you.
Okay, Cynthia St. Clair and then Ron Mahoney.
Good morning, Cynthia St. Clair. I'm a cat lover. I don't live in the city of Los Angeles, but I have two concerns about this at this early stage. One of them is that even if this law passes, I'm afraid that it's going to be very hard to enforce, and also that cat lovers are going to be discriminated against by people who don't like them. For instance, people who have neighbors whose cats bother them or they don't like the people are going to call up animal control and say, this person has too many cats, they're not licensed, come check on them. And these will be the people that wind up paying the money, and it will be unfair and discriminatory. I think it's, to put a cat lover in fear like that if they don't comply with the law, that they will become a criminal, that their neighbors could turn them in, is not fair. Another thing I'd like to address is there seems to be a fear here that this licensing is going to help keep strays off the street. And I'm wondering why nobody has talked about a program that many people have recently implemented of putting microchips into cats' ears, which is fairly inexpensive and a good way to identify them if they're lost. Thank you.
Thank you. Ron Mahoney.
Good morning. My name is Ron Mahoney, and I am here in support of the no on the cat license fee bill. I have indoor cats. They always stay indoors. They never go outside. And I think it is unfair to be taxed for companions of mine that are loved and kept inside. That's it for today. Thank you.
That's all the cards we have. Anybody else want to be heard on the public comment on the budget? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. If we don't finish the budget, we'll have a public hearing tomorrow. Mr. Alatorre, the chairman of the Budget Ad Hoc Committee.
Mr. President and members, once again, as I did, I wanted to take this opportunity to thank the staff from CAO, the mayor's office, my staff, the CLA, and everybody that had a hand in putting this budget together. To the members of the committee, spent the hours in listening to the departmental heads argue their case in terms of their particular department, and what it was if they so came before the committee, what it was that they were interested in changing and trying to augment. Many of the times it was accepted because many times the need arose after the budget had been formulated and the mayor agreed that it was worthwhile and what it was that they were advocating was just, and the changes were made as a result of that. The other changes that we have, and we have made some changes, came as a result of the collective thoughts of the members of the committee and things that they felt were deficient. But all in all, we must compliment the mayor and the staff of the mayor for the budget that they put together. The committee report differs in some respects, and I just wanted to deal with those. In terms of building a stronger financial foundation, the difference between what the mayor and what we have before us was that we heard from Moody's, we heard from other individuals that were involved in looking at the debt policy, and one of the things that came up was that possibly if we were able to find more monies, that we should increase the reserve. And we did that. We provide for a higher reserve for fiscal stability in the tune of $6.4 million, in addition to the $38 million for a total of $44.6 million. We restored something that we had to do away with, and that was the unappropriated balance general account. And we set aside $2 million to meet contingencies as they come up so that we don't automatically have to go to the reserve fund. In terms of, trying to generate, collections and improve collections with the fire department, with the police department, and also with the city clerk, we gave them added staff so that they're able to hopefully collect more money, and that money goes to the general fund. We did it with the fire department, and we can expect additional revenue from the fire department, the tune of $4.5 million, and the police department about $3.4 million. And I think that it's realistic to use those figures. The other thing is that what the mayor had provided was that there would be no hiring freeze as we have had, and that the departments would bear the burden of the salary adjustments made in lieu of a hiring freeze. And this was time and time again, the general manager spoke of the importance of trying to undo the hiring freeze so long as they stayed within their budget, that they be allowed, as attrition takes place, they be allowed to fill those positions. And the mayor concurred and we concurred on that. In terms of the commitment that we have over and above where we spend probably about 75 to 80% of our budget, and that's for public safety and for sanitations. We also looked at expanding in our commitment to children as well as to senior citizens. In the area of our youth, we provide the funding for Phase 1 and 2 to the library department, and as a result of that, we look at expanded hours, and we increase the budget of the segment of the budget that deals with the purchase of additional books. We put in there the need to hire new recreation directors, especially in those areas that are impacted as a result of the geographic area that they reside, and we increased the number of recreation directors. In terms of the maintenance at new and expanded recreation facilities, we provided money for that. It's fine to open up a new facility, but if you don't have money to be able to deal with the maintenance problem as well as a staffing problem, then we have a nice facility, but we can't operate that facility. We increased the monies to upgrade the zoo infrastructure. And also, in terms of our commitment to youth, we are talking about not only the child care program and looking at ways of providing subsidy for the program that we have. We have a program, if you are at a certain level of employment with the city and you have children, you can go to the child care center, and your chances of being able to have child care for your child is good. But if you're a lonely secretary, it's almost virtually impossible to do that. And we're doing that without, compromising the quality of the program. In terms of senior citizens, we provided more funding for the OASIS program so that that program could be expanded to provide access information regarding senior programs and senior resources. As well as we found that there are about, on the homebound senior program, the meals program, that we were having to cut the commitment that we have made as a result of some of the cuts that we have seen, and as a result of that, the program that provides an extremely important resource for senior citizens was not being extended to some of the homebound seniors. As far as the meals program, we provided $300,000 for that. We also restored funds for the prevention and health promotion services so that people would know what it is that the federal government at that level may have cut, and in terms of what services seniors are qualified to receive. We provided additional funding for taxi cab vouchers so that seniors can use, and we expanded the program so that they can use the taxi cab vouchers so that they can go from place to place, whether it's to the doctor, whether it's shopping, whether it's other things that are gone unmet if they do not have the taxi cab vouchers. In terms of public safety, in the past we have done a lot for the police department, and we still are committed to public safety, but we had to look at public safety and expand it because public safety also means some of the unmet needs of the fire department. And as a result of the unfortunate accidents and the death of some of the members of the fire department, the death of one of the captains, we started to look at some of the unmet needs of the fire department. We provide additional funds for $4 million, in the tune of $4 million for the fire department, and that is to improve their services. We improved the emergency medical services program, the funding for safety and automotive equipment. We increased the funding for the new recruit training program. We fund and we provide upgrades of 16 regular engine companies to paramedic assessment companies. We provide funds for 42 bonus firefighter, paramedics, We funded, the monies for the helicopter and scuba diving training for non-emergency vehicles, and we provided additional funds for the Human Relations Development Committee. In terms of the city attorney had come to us and talked about the importance of having a police, unit that works directly with the chief of police, and we helped to create that police division within the city attorney's office to reduce the reliance on outside counsel. Many of us have talked about the exorbitant amount of money that we have to spend for outside counsels. Reason being is that we don't have the personnel that are sufficient to deal with some of the complicated issues that some of the litigation that we're involved in bring into flow. So we provided for the funding of that department. We provide 2 additional positions for the new Family Housing Code Enforcement Program. We provided increased funds for the criminal court staffing, additional paralegal positions, the funding of 12 previously unfunded positions that the City Council took a position on, but they went unfunded. We provided funding for those positions. And we are trying to reduce the liability claims account to reflect hopefully the reduction of monies that we have to spend for outside counsels. In terms of the transportation improvements, we provide for the funding for the creation of a board of commissioners for the taxi cab drivers, and we instructed the city agencies to deal with the change in the direction of the MTA as it relates to the funding of MOS 3. We asked for some negotiation to take place so that we look at what the needs are for the people that were expected to receive the services but are not going to get the services of a subway. We look at the needs for transit-dependent individuals, not only there but in different parts of the city. We provided monies for the U.S. Census 2000. We increased the funding so that hopefully we're going to get the monies that we justifiably deserve as a result of the census, and that we do not lose the money that we lost the last time as a result of the undercount of the residents of the city of Los Angeles that reflects in our ability to provide the needed services that the increase in population merits. These are the highlights of the budget. I think that the budget was an excellent document that the mayor proposed. We just improved it, and we approved it as a result of the collective judgment of the members of the committee, with the CLA talking to some of the other members to look at some of the programs that are important to the functioning of the city of Los Angeles. The police department did quite well. They're all right, and some of the monies that were needed to fund some of the things came as a result of the inability of the department to be able to fill, as a result of the attrition, the PSRs. But we assured the chief, and he came before the committee, that if in fact there is a need that he feels are important, that we will obviously, as a result of the monies that we have put aside, be able to fund those needs. That's the budget. I think that what I would propose is, we have quite a few items, and some of them are ministerial. Some of them are things that have to be done as a result of the implementation of the budget, and those hopefully we can, dispose of immediately. They're items 77, and it goes to, I think, 109. If you want to go point by point, we can do that. But a lot of the things that we did as a result of the importance that we placed on not only the mayor's feeling as to what the direction of the city should be taken, but also it's a reflection of what we as the members of the city council feel should be included in that direction, and I would respectfully ask for an aye vote.
Okay. Mr. Comrie, Jennifer Roth, Steve Long, any comments you want to make?
No, sir. I think it's been covered quite well. Councilman, I just wanted to thank members of the ad hoc committee for letting me be part of the process and look forward to helping with anything more that I can.
Steve?
No, I'm just here to answer any questions.
Okay, any discussion?
I would, I mean, if the members feel that they should.
Well, why don't we do it this way? If there's items you want to call special,
why don't we do that?
Let's call them special. Mr. Wax, you got a better way to do it? You want to go through it one item at a time?
27 years I've been here, we always went through every item.
Yeah, well,
It's up to the members of the council if you want to go through that, but I think that the document that all the members have pretty much spell out what it is that we did with the budget, and it's fairly detailed position that we took, that, and it's self-explanatory, but it's whatever the will of the members of the committee are, the members of the council are.
Mr. Savornich? Yes.
75, 88, 98, and 100.
1 through 109 special.
Mr. Wax has called 1 through 109. Is there any objections to that? Mr. Wax is being Mr. Wax. Okay, let's... all
right, can we go...
let's go start with 1, Mr. Alatorre. We'll satisfy...
All right, that's the way you want to go? That's fine. Okay, let me just get to item number 1.
Is there any discussion on one?
Basically, it's on the revenue changes, and all it deals with is the increase of the business receipts based on the addition of 11 new positions to improve the collection needs of the city. Ask for an aye vote.
All right, Mr. Hernandez.
No.
Now we're doing Mr. President, members of the council, I just wanted to ask Mr. Comrie, and maybe he could give me some further guidance here. I understand it's increasing the business tax receipts based on the additional people we're going to have for collection purposes, but I was also wondering if our estimates maybe might have been understated based on the current economic situation in the city in terms of the sales tax revenue that's coming up and other permit fees.
We don't believe so. We believe the revenues are pretty consistent. What this does is add some more staff, and whenever we add staff, they add the revenue to go with them. The first year, they'll just be partial collections. The second year, then they'll make money. This offsets their cost the first year.
Yeah, but in terms of like the sales tax revenue, you were basically predicting no increase in that line item?
Oh, no, we're forecasting a 4% increase next year, which is at the top end of the outside economists.
And yet, in the 70s, the increase was about 9.76 annually?
This year's increase is forecast in sales tax at about 4.7%. There was a very good Christmas sales. The economists did not believe we would get that type of surge next year, so they suggested we stay at 4%, and it would be the same increase for business tax. They pretty much follow each other.
Okay, and just because I'm asking the questions in terms of some of the revenue projections, I noticed that under the document transfer tax, they predicted approximately almost a 15% increase.
That's correct.
And under property tax revenue, they predicted no increase.
The problem with the property tax, it's frozen under Prop 13 to a maximum of 2% a year, and we still have all of those reassessments downward coming out of the system. So next year's forecast in real terms is roughly a 2% increase, and that's the max. Now, we would expect in future years, though, it to go beyond the 2% if we get a lot of property transfer, but we won't pick it up next year. It'll be the years after that.
And so you don't think that last year's increase would be picked up this year?
There were
Under the
$9
property
million
tax line.
of adjustments last year, Councilman. So 97, 98 included one-time payments of $9 million. So there is an increase next year, but there was an offset this year. So roughly on a real economic basis, the property tax would be up 2%.
Okay, and how about on other utility taxes?
We have some growth in some categories, but we're having trouble with the phone tax. And we've got, the city clerk has some special audits out right now with MCI. We're not sure what all of the issues are. Part of it might be that we're unable to capture all of the cell phone tax right now. We only get the base rate. Some of the phone companies are telling us they misapplied in the past, so that's why you don't see a lot of growth in utility users. We believe generally that will eventually follow with good growth once we get the city clerk's audits done.
Yeah, so we'll have about a 6-month review in regards to those kinds of potential revenues for adjustment purposes?
Actually, Mr. Carey's doing work right now and has already contacted the phone company, so we would expect to have answers in 30 to 60 days.
And I take it we're also contacting the gas company?
The gas company seems to be tracking their historical amounts.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else want to be heard on item number 1? If not, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote. That is approved.
Item
Item number 2. Anybody want to be heard on that?
No, I move item number 2, Mr. President.
All right. Any discussion? If not, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Item number 3. Any discussion on item number 3? All right, Mr. Burnson wants to be heard.
One of the things, members of the council, that's in this revenue source is a 5% franchise fee on the sewer tax, which in effect we are taxing ourselves, which is a raid on the people who pay the sewer service charge. It amounts to about $20 million. I'm going to bring in a motion, I haven't had it prepared, that we delete this particular source of revenue. It's improper, and I don't think we should do it. I know it's a lot of money, but I think that we have to be very careful on how we charge people on their sewer service charges, and this is a direct reflection on those increases.
All right, item number 4.
No, item number 3. Anybody want to be heard on that? Well, Mr. Wax, just press your button. You know the rules.
Okay. Is number 3 to simply reimburse for the cost of Premium 2000 that relates to that part of the Premium 2000 that relates to the system?
That's correct.
Okay.
Prepare the roll on item number 3. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes, 2 noes.
All right. Item number 4.
That is. Item number 3, and there was Savornich, Burnson, and Alarcon. Okay, that's approved. Next item, 4. Any discussion on item 4? Any discussion on item 4? If not, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Next item. Item number 5, increased interest income. Any discussion on that? If not, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Next item. Increased fees for license permits, fines, and et cetera. Any discussion? If not, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
Over here, Bill. That's approved. Next item. Increased fees and control of the police commission and such arrest reports, crime reports, and traffic reports. Any discussion? If not, prepare the roll.
That was with item 6, Mr. President.
Yeah. Well,
Item 7 is...
well, yeah, there were 3 different A, B, C on 6, and they're all approved. Next item. Item 7, new line item for the library revenue appropriations to recognize the use of $800,000 of unspent prior year's funds. Any discussion? If not, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Next item, another within recreation and parks on unspent funds, $800,000 from last year. Any discussion?
I'd like to call that special, Mr. President.
Ms. Galanter wants to be heard on that.
was that wasn't spent? What was it supposed to be spent for?
Basically, two departments, Recreation and Parks and Library, do not revert unspent monies to the reserve fund like the rest of the city. So in going through the budget, the committee had funded things in Rec and Parks, and Recreation and Parks agreed that they would have $800,000 of their own funds to contribute to expansion of various programs. So basically, it's because monies that are appropriated to the department do not revert to the general fund. It stays within their own
I understand that,
funds.
but, all right, so
Well,
you're saying that
higher-
it's,
two
wait,
things.
Steve, let me try to ask
Okay.
it so I'm going to
Okay.
understand the answer. Are you telling me that this is not money that was earmarked to be spent? It's just money that they had sitting around?
This was salary savings from this current year.
So why is it so hard to get the dog parks funded?
Mr. Hernandez.
Yeah, Steve, when I go out to my parks, what I found in particular, and again, we've talked about new facilities, and I'm talking about some of the old facilities. One of the areas that was really lacking was maintenance. The fields just were not being kept up. The reality was, when I was trying to find out why, I found out that they had a shortage of staff people in the Central Bureau in terms of maintenance, and because they transferred them out to deal with some of the other areas of the city. Now, when I looked at the overall budget, there was a reduction of 2 people under the maintenance. And I'm trying to figure out, if we have more parks, if we have more facilities, and that's the line item where we reduce personnel, and they had savings, how is it that we're going to make that up? And my park's going to be maintained even less now because we, as a council, aren't taking that into consideration.
The committee, later on in the committee report, I think it's item 50 and 51, the council adds back some funding for maintenance and operational costs at the Rec and Parks facility. So the committee report increases staffing above the mayor's proposed budget.
Right, and if we could hold that item for later discussion, the reason I want to hold this item for later discussion is because even though they added, there was for new and expanding facilities, and my concern is the old facilities that are being maintained with less staff people than what was adequate in the first place. And I'd like to hear from the department as to how they're dealing with that, because what we were hearing during the year was that they were transferring people out to deal with other facilities. And as that was happening, our parks were being neglected, and I'm talking about the older parks that were in place. And so if I could deal with all of them at the same time, that would help me have a clear understanding of what they're doing. Because even though we added for new facilities, and that still doesn't replace the ones that were gone in the first place.
Okay. Anything else, Mr.?
So, Mr. President, I'd like to hold this item till we get to 5051, the other park items.
Okay, we'll hold.
And maybe the department could be present to answer those questions.
No objections, we'll hold item number 8 on the desk. Next item. Increased community development block grants fund to support the Census 2000. Any discussion on that? If not, prepare the roll, tabulate the vote. That is approved. Speak louder. Next item. Next item is proposed illegal sign removal pilot program. Mr. Comrie, can you describe that?
Yes, this is a series of increases in the fees for the illegal sign posting, and it adds later in the process a few staff to street maintenance to start a small pilot program on a citywide basis to remove more of the signs that are stapled up illegally.
How does it differ from the present?
It's actually net new staff that
How
they don't
does
have.
Would someone tell me how this pilot program differs from the city's current citywide program?
The city has no program.
Well,
There's no funding in the city budget, so as a consequence, we can't enforce the violations. So this returns to what the city used to have, only on a smaller scale, a number of years ago, when the city used to actually have a meaningful enforcement program for illegal signs. It does so on a modest scale because of fiscal
so this
concerns.
doesn't change the program, it enforces the program?
That's correct.
Okay, that's a...
Okay, prepare the roll on item 10. Ms. Misakowski? Well, your button is, we cut it off, Mr. Holden.
I just had a question and perhaps the members of the committee can answer it, in terms of calling it a pilot program. what are the parameters of the pilot program? Is it just 3 more bodies who are going to go out citywide? What is their focus? What are the parameters for how they're going to do it? Is it going to be on a roving basis? Is it going to be a team approach? One of the problems in the past was that the inspectors inspected where there were complaints and would take some signs down but not others if there weren't complaints, and that really obviously was not effective. So I don't know whether or not the department is here or whether the committee members can talk a little bit about what the structure of this particular program might be.
I think, does this have anything to do with Zev putting signs up or tear them down? Mr. Holden?
Mr. President, members, currently we're charging $194.20 for the first sign. You're talking about raising that to being the same, but for the first violation is $6.25. And then you're going to raise that to $12.50, the second violation. And the list goes on. All you're doing is adding on the cost, which is pretty high already, which currently exists for removing a sign or posting a sign illegally. And my concern with that is that your opponent will for sure put your sign on the pole. And you have to pay to remove that. Now, we got all these stickers up there right now, and the city attorney is supposed to remove those signs, find those people, and that's not being done. Do I read it incorrectly?
Yeah, Mr. Holden, recall actually a number of your constituents and mine at the most recent council in your district are promoting the idea that we ought to be finally focusing on blighted areas of the city that in fact are blighted in part because of the proliferation of these illegal signs.
For these kind of fees, you can focus on any district right now.
There are no human beings with which to enforce them, and the city attorney has opined that unless you have city staff involved.
So how are you raising the money? How are you going to raise the money?
About this, the joint report from the CLA and the CAO assumes approximately in the first year a 30% cost recovery on the whole program based on the removal of signs. Pardon me?
How are you planning to recover the cost?
The cost will be recovered because you can actually go after the people who have posted the signs illegally and make them pay these fines, which
how
they're not
much
paying
is the fee
now.
right now? What does it cost right now?
The fees are listed in the report.
And what does the report say?
For the first sign, for tax signs, it's $194.
$194.
Right.
Okay, next one.
For glued-on signs, it's now $54. It would go to $109.
Okay. Then for the next sign thereafter, then how much?
Well, there's an addition on the from $625 to $1250 for the second.
All right, how much you collected now? $194 is a lot of money for the first sign. How much are you currently collecting for sign removal?
Well, there's no staff to really enforce it right now, so the department estimates, as Mr. Fuhr indicated, that this fee schedule would cover about 30% of the cost of the 3 staff that are
really,
put on.
if you were to go out and enforce it right now, you still would be getting $194 per sign for the first one.
Yeah, but Nate, we can't enforce it now and collect for the signs because the city attorney has opined that without city staff involved in assessing the violation in the first place, just relying on volunteers, you can't enforce the penalties. And so we have a toothless ordinance unless we add a small number of city staff members with which to deal with it. And that's the point of this.
The point I'm trying to make is if I charge $200 for the first sign, or $225 for the first time, but I have to charge $225 because I can't enforce it if I just charge $200. What are you talking about? You may not be able to hire 10 people, so you'll hire 5 people.
All right, Mr. Burnson?
You know, the problem here isn't the amount. The problem here is the enforcement. Now, number one, we've got to have some people to work with our volunteers. Our volunteers will be happy to take them down. Unfortunately, we run into some problems with the law. Now, you know, the city attorney is going to have to be an integral part of this program. I'm going to vote for it, but I will tell you now, and we need a commitment from the city attorney's office, that they will enforce this and go after these people. Most of our problems that we have with scofflaws in the city is because we have ordinances and we don't do anything about it. We don't enforce them. So this is something that does need to be done. Yes, there are some problems with it. There's always the possibility of somebody fraudulently putting somebody else's sign up or something like that. But that's going to be the exception rather than the rule. And in Mr. Holden's case, it'll probably be legitimate, so, you know. Anyway, you don't have to answer that, Nate. Mine, that's right. You're my illegitimate advisor. But anyway, the key, members of the council, is we must ensure, if the city attorney is not going to enforce these vigorously, then there's no point in having any fine, because it doesn't mean anything, regardless of how much you charge.
Mrs. Chick?
Yes, I have some questions about how the pilot program will work. I think all of us are in agreement that we need to do something to tighten up on enforcement of illegally posted signs. But am I correct that in order for us to bill people who are posting these signs, that it has to be a city staff person, a street use inspector, who removes the sign? Or can it be volunteers in many of our programs, Code Watch and others, that take down the signs?
City staff needs to be present to know the presence of the sign. I don't know if they literally need to be physically the one to remove the sign.
But they have to see
identify the illegally posted sign in place in order for there to be meaningful enforcement after that.
So it should be a city staff, because one of the other issues, you have volunteers do it, you got liability issues, whole bunch of other issues. So city attorney has advised that you're better off using city staff.
Well, in fact, they said we can't do it otherwise.
And I know that there's some state legislation underway to also try and tighten up on municipalities' ability to collect. But I do have some reservations, having heard this in Public Works Committee and not having some of our questions addressed there. As to how this program is going to work. I notice in what's before us, this asks for a report back to committee in April, and I would like to see it back in Public Works Committee sooner to explain how it's going to work. And I guess I'm also skeptical that while we're trying to keep the cost down and we're calling it a pilot program, if this is creating 3 staff citywide, and I didn't hear answers to Councilmember Miskowski's questions in terms of how it's going to be determined where the staff is allocated. I don't think there's a major commercial corridor in the city that doesn't have this problem. So I'd like to hear more when it goes back to Public Works Committee on how and where staff is going to be allocated, and if staff has to be there to actually see the signs or take them down, how are 3 staff citywide going to make a dent in this? And that's not a rhetorical question. I'd like a response to it before I decide how I'm going to vote.
This gentleman looks like he knows what he's doing. He found the seat, so did you want to speak on this subject?
Bart Benjamin's Office of the CAO. As proposed, it's a small program. It's a pilot program. The 3 individuals will go hit a particular corridor at one time and do a massive enforcement of it, and then move on to other corridors as time is available and time permits. And they will not be able to get all corridors within the first year, but they will hit the major offenders, and in trying to do so, we'll at least try to make a statement that the city is serious about enforcing this. And then as the program gets underway and they will report back to council about additional needs, they will come back and ask for appropriate resources to continue this program in future years. But they will hit particular corridors that are particularly covered with these posters, and then just try to hit as many as they can. They will not be able to hit all of them.
Mr. Hernandez?
And it looked by example in the report.
Members of the council, it's my understanding part of the problem is that this isn't enforced now, but I do know that I had a campaign where I automatically paid a fee, and then I also paid for a volunteer to remove them because I didn't want to be fined, and I think several of us have done that in the past. And I don't know how much of that actually happens. It might be just us who are, the city council, who are paying the fee. But as I understand it right now, we charge $194.20 for the first sign, then $1.60 for each additional sign. And so if we basically picked up 100 signs, we'd be picking up approximately $160 or $160. So it's $194.20 and $160. And that is why the city attorney doesn't do anything with it, right? Because how much does it cost us to collect from someone? The proposed increase, though, provides $194.20 plus $625 for the next sign, and then increases to $1,250. So if we got 100 signs, we'd be looking at $1,250, or approximately $1,500 altogether, not even that amount. Now, is that going to be enough for the city attorney to prosecute? The reason I asked the question is the first question is, who do you prosecute when you pick up a sign? And how do you go after someone? And who is the responsible party? Is it the event that is being promoted? Is it the group that's playing? Is it the promoter? And does the promoter have the assets to collect from? And the second question is, how much does it cost us to prosecute? Now, I'm convinced once we start prosecuting someone to collect these fines, people are going to either pay the fines or they're not going to be posting their signs. And so the question is this enough to get us to that? And I think it's headed in that direction. I'll be eager to find out what kind of report we get back. And but the reality is, unless we go after collecting these fees and set some examples, we're never going to get any place in the first place.
You want to answer those questions?
In response to your first question, the department will go after whoever is responsible for posting the sign, and that's usually identified by either the event or the agency that's behind the event. Number two, the department will try to work with the city attorney in terms of recovering. They're also contemplating a potential a process of going to small claims court themselves and recovering in small claims court the fees.
Okay, Mr. Fuhr.
Thank you, Mr. President. How many of us or our staffs have had this experience? A whole bunch of illegally posted commercial signs are located on telephone poles or elsewhere along, in our case, Ventura Boulevard or Sunset or Melrose. And our staff members call the company whose signs are posted. And I can tell you explicitly, companies are often outside the city of Los Angeles, sometimes they're in the city of Los Angeles, and the answer is they laugh. They say, we're going to keep doing it. Literally, to our staff, to my staff, it's been said. And you know why? Because they know what we know, that without any city staff members to participate in this program, we have an unenforceable ordinance on the books. It is not enforced now. Now, it's not prosecutorial in the sense that there is a crime. This is not a crime in the sense that there's jail time at stake. There is a fine associated with illegally posting a sign. It's about time we actually collect the money against perpetrators who post these signs and degrade the quality of life in the neighborhoods we represent. I know when this has been heard that individuals from all over the city of Los Angeles, from Ms. Walters' district, Mr. Holden's district, from all over town have said we want the ability to get rid of these signs, and we know that it is ineffective currently. What is before us is indeed a program of modest size. It's a program of modest size because of a budget with a number of competing important priorities. One of those priorities is enhancing the quality of life in neighborhoods we represent. We can't enforce it now. With this approach in place, we can. Ms. Mizakowski asks, where will it be enforced? The report before us, as I think you know, indicates that they will focus on hotspots in the city of Los Angeles. Delineated in the report, our neighborhoods are streets like Ventura, Olympic, Alvarado, Main, Melrose, streets like those which are frequently hit by people distributing these signs because they know that there is high traffic on those streets. Let's start here. Let's look at what the report says regarding the efficacy of the program next year. If it's April or March, it doesn't matter. The point is, it's about time we actually give some teeth to an approach that currently is toothless. Let's just do it.
Mr. Ridley Thomas.
Mr. President, I rise to encourage the members of the council to adopt this motion. It seems to me all of us concur that blight is bad wherever we find it. We have a common interest in ridding our city of blighted areas, and this is an effort to do that. This is an important part of our fight against blight. The other thing that I wish to say that this is a pilot program, Mr. Alarcon, and you've worked hard on the issue of fighting blight. We wish to encourage you to continue to do so, sir. But to the extent that this is a pilot program, there is simply no reason why we shouldn't at least go forward on an experimental basis. The concerns to monitor are certainly appropriate, and to the extent that we can monitor and get periodic report backs, I think it's a step in the right direction. So I would simply urge us to move forward with the adoption of item number 10.
Sure.
Can one safely assume that the enforcement mechanism will be directed with a certain amount of common sense so that we will go after the commercial promoters rather than the owners of lost dogs? And I mean, because, you know, I can just imagine most of the signs in the residential neighborhoods are not commercial signs. They're garage sales or lost pets or found pets. And most of the people who post those signs will have no idea that there's a city ordinance, and to get hit with a $200 fine for trying to find their child's cat, you know, is going to really upset them a lot. So what sort of a promise do we have here that we're going after the rock concerts and the dating services and all the rest of those things, but not the lost pets?
As proposed, the pilot project envisions only hitting the major offenders.
Mrs. Walters?
Thank you, Mr. President. Council members, this item, or an item very close to it, was in Public Works Committee, and we received and filed it because at that time there was a great deal of trouble with it because it was talking primarily volunteers going out doing this, and the city attorney's office was quite explicit in informing us that this could not occur. In the budget, this is differentiated from the other proposal by, one, it's a pilot, two, it's done with staff people, city staff people, as opposed to volunteers. I'm going to ask the department if they would report back at an earlier date, if they would report back to us by the 1st of December with wherever they are in the process, whether it's hiring folks or they've not gotten out to the street, or if they are in fully functioning. I would also like for the department to bring to the Public Works Committee your criteria for hiring these people. Are they regular inspectors assigned to this? Are they new people who are only assigned to this? And I would like for you to also share with us what the anticipated cost after you get up and running, what it's anticipated to be. Mr. Wong, is there a do we have a dollar number attached to this?
Yes, we do. It's later on, you'll see the staff added, and so we have a dollar amount associated with it. That comes later on.
Okay.
This is just the revenue side to start with.
All right. So I think...
So you probably want to amend 10B, instead of saying April 1 of 99, I think your intent is to make that December 1st, 1998 to report back.
Right, but I'd also like to leave the April 1 day so that we get a couple of report backs and get the April 1 well before the budget for the next fiscal year. Both dates, to include both dates there. Okay.
Councilmember Wax.
Yeah, I want to continue to pursue what Ms. Galanter raised because, yeah, first of all, it's a real issue, it's a real problem, and the city needs to be tough or else we're never going to enforce it. And it should be enforced. But I think all of us here feel that there's a distinction has to really be made between the kind of commercial enterprises that constantly abuse them, whether it's a concert at the Roxy or selling a condominium or whatever, versus someone losing a pet, a cat or a dog or something, or perhaps having a birthday party for the kid and for one day they put up a sign to the residences there and they come and take it down with the balloon. The kind of things that you need to have to be a human city. How do we make that distinction legally? What if someone, when people first of all, how do we make it in terms of how we enforce it? And secondly, how do we make it legally when someone says, look, there were two signs up there and you did one and not the other because one was for a lost puppy and the other was for a dating service. How do we, practically speaking, how do we make the distinction of going after those who gain commercially from using our property versus those who use it as a means of communication on a sort of one-time only basis for some non-commercial human need or human issue? How do we do this?
There is a city attorney here.
I'm going to have to defer that to the city attorney's office, Councilman.
I notice the city attorney's on the phone trying to get advice right now.
Hold on a second.
I'm happy to let it go on to someone else if we can come back when the city attorney comes back, Mr. President. The city attorney, I assume, is trying to get somebody
Yes, she is.
who can answer the question. So let me just give up my time for now, but I would like to have the city attorney respond. Because I think all of us feel an important need to make that. You really want to be tough with one group, and you want to charge them for all the costs that they impose upon the city to keep the place clean, but you want to be human and realistic about the kind of needs when people have a legitimate sort of one-time need for something that's non-commercial and personal. Can we make it on the basis of commercial?
Mr. Burnson.
Yes, I think some of my colleagues have touched upon a very critical issue here. I'm going to move that we delete all signs that are not professionally printed signs. Well, I'm sorry, but I'm going to make the motion. You can vote against it if you like. But I think I don't want to deal with. I don't want to impose fines on people who lost their animal or who are having a garage sale. But I do want to. I do want to go after the people who are professionally using these things for commercial purposes. And maybe we need to word it as commercial rather than for individual household type things. I think we can make a distinction, and I would ask the city attorney to drop some language on that. Now, I think Mr. Hernandez really hit it right on the head. We're charging for the first sign. The first sign isn't really the problem, and maybe that's how we go after the thing with the household thing if we can't find any other way. It really should be the second and third and fourth, and there should be an increase in the cost of each sign after the first one, rather than charge for the first one and then charge them $1 or something, or $2 per sign after that. I mean, that's like paying rent. And the third thing about this is that many of these sign companies, as somebody pointed out, are located outside the city, and they don't care. So we need to put some teeth in this thing, because we have no means of collecting from them anyway. I don't know how we're going to collect on them if they're outside the city. What are we going to do? We need to make this a misdemeanor if they're cited on 3 different occasions. 3 strikes and you're out. Then it becomes a misdemeanor, and then we can go after them and we can go to a judge and we can impose, if necessary, a heavy fine or a prison term, if necessary, if it's being deliberately people thumbing their nose at us. So I'm going to ask the city attorney to look into the possibility of what we can do as far as three separate occasions, not 3 signs, but on 3 different occasions, if the same person or company, whatever they do, if they will continue to do that, that we would impose make it a misdemeanor on the third infraction. So I'm going to make that a motion that we ask the city attorney to do that also. Joel, I think this kind of answers the question that we've raised as far as the personal type signs. And I consider the ones that are done by hand as personal type signs rather than commercial signs.
Thank you. And Mr. Burnson, maybe we can open Alcatraz and throw those guys in there. They're terrible. Ms. Goldberg.
John, you can preside over them.
All of us agree that this is an issue that we should be dealing with. I would say, though, in the scope of the budget, we should probably leave it at the 3-person pilot, refer all of the various, I think, very good ideas to Public Safety, I believe. No, it's actually Public Works, probably, to Public Works Committee, and ask them to come back to us with a report on what we really can do to address this, because I don't think this particular context is the way to get it done, but I do think the discussion has been helpful, because I know that there's really not an area of the city that doesn't find it unsightly, and really it's a part of blight to just have these signs plastered everywhere. But I don't think we can solve it right here, and so I would urge that we refer it all to Public Works, but vote for these positions today, and see if we can come up with a real policy that will make some sense and get at some of this
I'm
stuff.
sure Mrs. Walters will be happy to do that. Ms. Sikowski.
Thank you very much, Mr. Burns.
I
voted
agree
for
and
you,
second that motion, and just wanted to suggest that Mr. Burnson's idea of making it commercial signs only, most of these today are printed on 8 by 11 piece of paper that are computer generated, so it's hard to determine what's commercial or not. I think the idea of sticking with the hotspots, which are the major commercial corridors, you're going to see far fewer residential household lost kitty kind of signs. You're going to see the inundation of the major advertisers who are out there. And another thing that I think we might suggest that Public Works look at is actually the numbers of signs, because when the people are out there, whether it's the diet drug or something else, you're seeing hundreds and hundreds of these signs. So it could also be just a threshold in terms of seeing more than X number are the ones that we go after. But in any case, I think the pilot program, with the direction from the council's consensus to really stick at the big violators, is what we should be going forward with. And I agree that sending the rest to Public Works Committee to refine it and also come up with something that is in the report, talking about the city attorney being instructed to draft an amendment to allow the ordinance to create the imposition of penalties on the sign, as well as just recovering the costs. As I understand from the report, these fees that are put in don't even yet recover the costs. And so I think we've got to look at that in a very proactive way to really go after the major violators.
Mr. President, could I just answer the question that was asked of the city attorney's office, or would you like me to wait?
I think,
all right, well.
I think you should wait, because I think hopefully this all the suggestions will go to committee and we'll approve
All
this.
right.
Mr. Alarcon.
I move the previous question on the next 50 items.
Thank you so much. I second that.
Okay, prepare the roll on the previous question. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
Okay, that is approved. Now, is there any objections to sending all of the suggestions and motions to Public Works? And
No objection.
Okay, and so prepare the roll on 10.
10 as amended by Walters with the additional date of December 1st, 1998.
Previous.
Yeah, well, I think we'll send that to committee too, because she'll have time to get that. Yeah, prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. Members, I just, listening to this discussion, I've come up with a suggestion that we go through these items, unless you call them, if you call them special, we'll put them on the desk and we'll come back to them later. Okay? So is there any suggestion, anybody objects to item number 11? Yeah, no, well, we got to do them one by one, because Mr. Wax has decreed that. Okay, prepare the roll on 11. Tabulate the vote.
13 ayes.
That is approved. Item 12. Any discussion on that? If not, prepare the... You want to call it special? No, it's going to be special, Mr. Wax. We'll do it later. Prepare the roll, call the roll on 13. Any discussion on 13? If not, prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Item 14. It's called special. Item 15. Item 15 is called special. Item 16. Item 16 is special. Item 17. Item 17 is special. Okay, now we go to the next page, item 18. 19 would be special. 20 would be special. What about 21, Mr. Wax? Huh? Any discussion on 21? It's special. Okay, what about 22? 22, any discussion on that? If not, prepare the roll on 22. Tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
That is approved. Next item. 23. Any discussion there? 23 is called special by Mr. Holden. Next item. 24. Any discussion? Prepare the roll on 24. Tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
That is approved. Item 25. Item 25. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
That is approved. Next item. 26. Any discussion on 26? If not, prepare the roll on 26. Tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
That is approved. Item 27. Any discussion? Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
That is approved. Item 28. Any discussion? If not, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
That is approved. Item 29. Item 30. Item 31. No, we're going to lump them. 32. 33. If not, prepare the roll on 30 through 33. 29 through 33. Tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
Those are approved. Next item. 34. 34. 35. 36. 37. 38. 39. Which one? 37 and 38. Okay, prepare the roll on 34 through 36. Tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
Those are approved. Next, then next would be 40. 39. 40. Prepare the roll on 39. Tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
That is approved. Item 41. Prepare the roll on 41.
Is this part of that 800,000 we talked about?
Separate.
This is separate.
Tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
That is approved. The next page, 42. 42, 43. 44. On what? Your question will be answered later. Prepare the roll on 42 and 43. Tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
Those are approved. 45. 45. 46. 47.
46 special.
Speak up a little quicker, will you, Mr. Wax? Prepare the roll on 45. Prepare the roll on 45. Tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
That is approved. 47. 48. Prepare the roll on 47 and 48. Prepare the roll on 47. Tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
That is approved. Mr. Wax, you have as much time as everybody else so you can call them special sooner if you want. Prepare the roll on 49. I mean, what about 49? Special on 49?
No, you should approve 49. This is the same as the other one. This provides staff for the legal sign removal.
Well,
Yeah, they called 8 special, take 50, 51, Hernandez.
49, is it called special? Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
That is approved. 50.
Is that the 800,000 carryover?
Yes, that's part of it.
50 is called special. 51. 52. 52. 53. 54. Prepare the roll on 53. Tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
That is approved. 55.
Does that mean 51 and 52 are called special?
Yes. Yeah. 55, 56. Prepare the roll on 55 and 56. Prepare the roll on 55. Tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
57. 58. 59.
Can I make one correction on 59? Instead of saying on the departments where it says Information Technology Agency, that should have been Library Department. There was a minor mistake in the committee report. Instead of having Information Technology Agency under 59B, it should have been Library Department. That's what the committee agreed to.
For the 200,000?
Yeah, 200,000 should be Library, not Information
Okay,
Technology
no
Agency.
objection to that change. So we have 57, 58, 59. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
Those are approved. Item 60. Item 61. Item 62. Item 63. Item 64. Item 65. Prepare the roll on 60 through 65. Tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
Those are approved. Item 66. Item 67. Item 68. Item 69. Item 70. Item 71. Item 72. 71 special. 72. Prepare the roll on 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, and 72. Tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
Those are approved. 73. 74. 75.
Can I make a minor correction on 75? The fifth word where it says city controller not, the not should be deleted. It should say instruct the city controller to revert funds. So delete the not.
No objections to that. 75 is called special. 76. Prepare the roll on 73 and 76. Tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
Those are approved.
74 and 75.
74 and 75 are called special. Okay, 77. 78. Prepare the roll on 77 and 78. Tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
Those are approved. 79. 79 is called special. 80. 81. 82. Prepare the roll on 80, 81, and 82. 80 is called special. 81 and 82, call the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
Those are approved. 83. 84. 85. Call the roll on 83 and 84. Tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
That is approved. Next item. 86. 87. 88.
87 special?
Anybody call 87 special? All right, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
That is approved. 89. 90. 91. 92. Prepare the roll on 89, 90, and 89 and 90. Tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
Those are approved. Next item. 93. 94. 95. 96. 97. 98. 'Prepare the roll on 96 and 97. And 93. 93, 96, and 97. Tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
Those are approved. Next item is 99. 100. Can you speak a little louder if you want me to call them special, Mr. Wax? Well, so, but if you... Yeah. Well, that's the first one. Mr. Savornich, you called 90, 100 special? 101. 102.
That's just to present the ordinances?
103. 104. 105. 106. 107. 108. 109. Okay, we have 99, 101 through 109 with the exception of 105. Is that correct? Prepare the roll. 100 is special. Tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
Those are approved. Now where are we? Back to the
special.
I think item 12 is the next one. Huh?
I think you had number 8.
8 is still on the desk. Do you want to take item 8? I thought we were waiting for... Mr. Hernandez, you call that special. Are you ready for number 8? And we'll do all the recreation and parks?
They couldn't do it during it, so yeah, thanks.
Steve, let's do all the recreation and parks.
I think they're going to handle that one. I think you're okay. Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah. Mr. Member of Council, this is a question dealing with the maintenance of parks, and I'm talking about some of the older parks, and for example, in my district, and I know in Councilman Goldberg's district, for some reason, the maintenance staff had been reduced, or they'd been transferred out to other areas of the city. And you showed an $800,000 surplus, and part of my understanding was you weren't able to hire people fast enough to replace some of the people you transferred. And my park suffered because of that in terms of maintenance. And I'm talking about the operation in terms of the baseball fields, the diamonds, as well as some of the rec centers. Now, when I looked at your overall budget proposal, you did show an $800,000 surplus, and that was put into pre-programming, and you were reducing 2 positions in the maintenance. The area that the ad hoc committee chose to add positions were for new facilities, new recreation centers. I'm still concerned about the old facilities and those recreation centers where we were missing personnel for purposes of maintenance and they weren't replaced.
Rick Sessinghouse, Recreation and Parks Director of Finance. Basically, the $800,000 that's referred to in the budget is a combination of 2 items. One is about $600,000 in anticipated salary savings from this year, which is less than 1% of our total salaries for full-time employees. The other $200,000 will come from expense account savings. This is predicated upon forecasting for the entire year how many positions we would have to hold vacant to meet our salary numbers. So we guessed, shall we say, estimated conservatively, and because of a lot of attrition towards the end of the fiscal year, we will demonstrate this savings. With respect to your specific question regarding staffing of maintenance facilities, this is decisions predicated upon input from the managers in the regions to move personnel as they must, based upon where vacancies occur and where greatest needs are. So there's a constant movement, because we do not have sufficient funds on an annual basis to fill all of our positions all the time. There will always be at least a 3% vacancy factor, if not more, factored into that.
Now, what I was hearing was closer to a 50% vacancy factor in one particular region that was supposed to be dealing with the maintenance of parks in areas like Montecito Heights, Cypress Park, Glass Hill Park, Arroyo Seco. And I'm asking the question because I went and saw those fields. I was shocked at what I saw. And then when I brought it to the attention, we have to have some kind of special event, like a commission meeting at a park for everybody to come and do their work. And I'm just asking, if you had salary savings, it was probably in that area.
Well, the salary savings would have been citywide, and it would have included administrative personnel and so forth, the positions that have not been unfrozen at all this year. However, some of it certainly could have come from those locations as well as other maintenance facilities throughout our system.
Okay, you're giving me a very general answer. What I want to hear from you is that the parks that I'm talking about are going to be maintained, and you're going to have staff to do that.
I believe that in the coming year's budget, our salary picture will be significantly better thanks to the ad hoc committee's recommendations that have been made, and we'll be able to utilize these funds. In general terms, they go into our salary account general. The $800,000 we're talking about will go to further address that issue as well as others throughout the department. So we'll be in much better shape the coming fiscal year than we have been in this current fiscal year to be able to fill more positions in maintenance as well as recreation.
Okay, and because of that statement, I'm willing to vote for this, but I just want you to know it's a major concern of this council member, and anything we need to do to correct that, I want to be aware of. It shouldn't take us having a commission meeting at a location to get those parks spruced up. It does work.
All right. We also, Mike, 50 and 51, are you satisfied with those? Did you
Yes,
follow
Mr. President.
special-
And you have
They were all dealing with the same issue.
92 also deals
They
with
were all dealing with the same issue.
Okay, and 92 also. So, anyone else want to be heard? Item number 8, 50 and 51 and 92, right?
Right.
Prepare the roll. Tabulate the votes.
12 ayes.
12 ayes. Those are approved. Okay, those are approved. Now, the next item, and according to is item number 12. Mr. Wax, I think you call that.
Thank you. Ms. Smith is here. I like item 12. Ms. Smith, is this, are these 75,000 meals over and above what we were funding when we had the full federal and state funding? Or is this making up the deficit?
No, it's over and beyond.
Have we made up the shortfall on the, remember we had some problems with maintaining the prior year's level of service because of the cut in federal and in state monies, and we were taking efforts to bring it up to that level. Have we brought it up to that level and now adding this over and above that?
As it relates to home delivered meals, we are at our level that we were a few years back, and this is over and beyond. These are the people we turn away.
Okay. And are you going to use the same criteria for delivering the meals to this 75,000 that you have for all the others?
Yes.
And will this pretty much cover the backlog that you've had?
As based on our latest report, that was what we estimate that we're turning away.
I think that this is a fabulous and important step in a city which has not really provided as much for its seniors as they need and deserve, and I laud you for this. And Mr. Fuhrer, I'm sure you had your hand in this, and I think it's great.
I just wanted to know that this is the exact number of meals that the Department of Aging estimates are currently not available to people in need who should be getting them, which is why we put it into the budget. It's $4 a meal. It's going to make all the difference in the world to each recipient of these meals. Urge an aye vote.
Okay, we have item number 14. Prepare the roll. I mean 12.
Item 12.
12, I'm sorry. Prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Now we have 14. Mr. Wax?
Again, another good addition. Are these going to be, who will these be, who will be eligible to provide the, who will be able to accept the vouchers? Any private veterinarian, or is this for, who's going to do, who are going to provide the spaying and the neutering with these vouchers? Mr. Ridley Thomas volunteers.
Mr.
Ms. Morris?
Private veterinarians do accept these vouchers, and they are distributed by the department and also by nonprofit organizations.
Are we going to give the nonprofit humane groups vouchers to distribute among people? Are we going to distribute them ourselves, or how?
Yes, we'll continue to use the nonprofits to distribute them, as well as distributing them ourselves, and we also encourage council offices to take a couple of breaths.
How many do we, setting aside for a moment the 7,500, how many vouchers do we give out on an annual basis now?
Ooh, I don't know the number. Wait a minute. Linda Gordon is here. She'll have the number. It's about $200,000 worth of vouchers.
Well, wait.
That we give now.
200,000. That's less than what we have right here.
Okay, it's 10,000 vouchers that we gave away this year, and that included the vouchers that were made available through the dog licensing fee and also through private donations.
Okay.
And this will add additional money to that
Will we
pot.
then, am I correct in assuming then that we'll now be able to give out 17,500 for next year?
Yes. Probably more than that.
Great.
Mr. Burnson?
Can I have some juice here, please? I'm totally supportive, except I might have a suggestion of one of the areas that we might want to funnel some of these funds through, and that would be for adoptions. Right now, we have a number of animals that are euthanized because they're not claimed or adopted, And if we could somehow utilize some of these funds to increase the number of adoptions, where we don't charge a fee to the adopter for spaying or neutering.
Yeah.
So, are we doing anything like that?
We are, through the spay and neuter clinic.
What amount of that are we doing?
About $240,000 a year.
Out of that?
Yes.
And what is that in ratio of the number of adoptions? Do you have any idea? Is that a percentage-wise?
We adopt about $14,000 a year, 14,000 animals per year.
And what is the amount of, how many animals will the amount that you're allocating to that pay for? Of that 14,000?
I mean, how many animals would be spayed
in other words,
and neutered? We require that all animals adopted out of the shelters be spayed or neutered before they go home with the new owner.
I understand that, but some of the money, in cases where they can't afford it, is being used to encourage adoptions. Are you following me on this?
I'm sorry.
Okay, what I'm saying is this. We now have about 14,000 adoptions right now. I would like to see some of this money used to increase the ability to adopt by people who don't have the funding and can't afford to do the spaying and neutering. Therefore, these animals are being euthanized. So I would like to see the program maximized to increase adoptions. I think that's probably the most important thing.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. Pardon me?
Yeah, members of the council, I've been fortunate to have a couple of spay and neuter clinics in my district, and the reality is every time we offer the vouchers, I'd say the numbers are in the thousands of people who line up to try and receive them. And I think what Mr. Burnson was trying to say right now is if we offered vouchers when someone basically adopted an animal, it would be reducing the cost of those individuals for that adoption, at least the amount they save with a voucher. And that would be an encouragement to adopt as opposed to just paying the straight-out fee plus the total cost to spay and neuter an animal. I think that this is very well spent money. What you need to understand is our pet population continues to increase, and the reality is responsible owners want to be able to spay and neuter their animals, but that cost also becomes prohibitive in trying to maintain the animal. And so I think that looking at those kinds of programs will make a big difference altogether. But I do want to encourage that we unanimously support this motion. It will be saving animals ultimately. It's the humane way to take action, and I think overall it saves the department a lot of grief.
Planter?
I wanted to say something, I think, similar. The answer to your question, Hal, is that the problem for the department is that we want the animals that are adopted out of the shelters to be spayed and neutered, because there's a very good chance that many of them got into the shelter in the first place because somebody didn't spay or neuter their pet. And so it does reduce, and since we require that they be spayed or neutered, it does reduce the cost of adopting a pet. So it would be nice to be able to subsidize further. I suppose that the only alternative here would be to say you get however much it is towards spaying, but if you adopt a dog that's already spayed, then we knock your fee down, but then we're still going to wind up putting to death the dog that wasn't spayed that could have been with this voucher. So I think that everybody's got the same goal here, but it's really a goal with two pieces to it. One is to reduce the total pet population that the department's ever going to have to deal with, and the other is to help make sure that those pets that are adopted out and around on the street again are in fact neutered. So I would urge an aye vote on this.
Anyone else want to be heard? If not, prepare the roll on item 14. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes.
That is approved. Item 15, who called that special?
Councilmember Chick, but they want to hold that until Councilman Alatorre can return.
Be present, so if we could hold that until he comes back. 15.
Okay. Now we have city attorneys. Mr. Wax, would you press your button?
Could someone first explain exactly what the program will be and who the attorneys will be that provide the service?
On number 16, this would create a police division within the city attorney's office to handle police litigation, both employee relations and liability issues. There's a total of 12 positions being added.
But how is this going to provide a different quality of our level of service than we're currently providing?
Well, it does-
What is the difference between what they will be doing and what we're presently doing?
It does two things. First of all, it adds additional attorneys and also it groups the
Is it
attorneys.
more of the same, or is it
No,
different?
it groups them together in a police division, so all police liability issues will be within one division.
Okay, I think that a person might give me a better answer. I don't want just more of the same because the same isn't working that well. Could you tell me how this will qualitatively provide a different service in this area, or a different response in this area?
Yes, sir. This gives us the ability to take one senior assistant who will be responsible for the following areas. We'll take a division of tort lawyers who will be doing exclusively tort cases for the police department, similar to what we do with the PLU right now, but creates a line of communication directly to that senior assistant. That senior assistant will also have a division of employee relations attorneys who will be doing exclusively employee relations for the police department. That gives us the ability, with these numbers of lawyers, to divide out the employee relations cases and matters that are police-related and non-police related so that they can have a specialty and
Is the
expertise.
distinction being simply that you're adding more personnel, or are the personnel themselves going to do things differently than they do today?
With the additional personnel, they have the ability in the police division to do the transactional advisory work, to do some training work over at Parker Center, to do additional work that will be proactive and will create an avoidance of litigation. It also gives us
And
the
that they're now not able to do because what, we, A, don't have the personnel, or that's not their responsibility, or what?
primarily the former, because we don't have the personnel, and of course with cases, those dates drive people's schedules, and it makes it difficult for folks to do the transactional stuff and to do the proactive training.
And is this something, Ms. Chick, that the police department is highly supportive of, to your knowledge?
I believe so. I have a motion waiting for a report from the city attorney's office asking for a whole review of risk management on LAPD issues.
Which this would certainly include.
And this would include.
In fact, if I may, we've been working with the police department on that report, and our report we will be coming forward cooperatively with our report. The police department is assuming and counting on this division as part of their risk management plan, I believe.
I don't have any objection to adding more if more is what it takes to do a better job, because it's costing the city too much already. But more of the same is not enough. So I'm listening to what you're saying, and it makes some sense as to the only question would then be why haven't we already done that? And you're saying that really don't have the personnel to do it. You couldn't divide up this way. You couldn't, with the existing, how many people, with the existing city attorney's office, you could not have this unit?
But we would not divide up our sections and do this unit, because then we wouldn't have the numbers for folks to be able to second share
others.
cases, to work cooperatively. We'd be missing out on the other work. That's right, sir.
Fuhr?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm strongly supportive of this item for a couple key reasons. First of all, I'm sick and tired of us farming out to outside lawyers matters which should be in-house with high levels of expertise in the city attorney's office. Why am I tired of that? Because ever since I've been on the council, I have borne in mind a particular figure. In the first budget to which I was privy, it was said that an in-house attorney making $94,000 a year in the city attorney's office costs us about $69 an hour. That is anywhere from a half to a quarter or even less of what we pay when we go take these cases out of the city attorney's office. And besides the cost-benefit advantages of having these positions in-house, we also have the important institutional memory benefit. We have within the city attorney's office, if we adopt this, an approach where we are sustaining the professional involvement of attorneys who will be with us for a long time, who know these issues inside and out. We know on this council that we benefit from institutional memory. From members like Mr. Wax, Mr. Ferraro, Mr. Bernstein, and others who've been around for a long time, have seen issues and have experience with them. Our city attorney's office should have the same level of expertise and the same ability to bring that experience to bear on key issues confronting us. I also think that there is an advantage in being able to focus exclusively on these issues rather than have a diverse array of matters on one's plate at one time. That will further enhance the special expertise of the people involved. So for all those reasons, I think it's about time that we have this, and particularly with respect to the police department, where all of us want to assure we are reducing our liability. And this is part of a package, I should note, members. The City Attorney's Office brings forward and says, look, we're prepared to assume a diminution in liability claims based on the improvements we're going to be making at the front end. So for all those reasons, I strongly support it and urge unanimous support for a very good idea.
I don't need to speak. My points have been made.
Mr. Alatorre?
Very briefly, Mr. President, members, the city attorney as well as the chief feel very strongly in the need for something like this. Matter of fact, I believe that, I don't know if the police commission has already voted on this or not, but you know, if we want to reduce the amount of money that we have to pay for outside counsel, if we want to improve the ability of the city attorney to do his job and the men and women of that department, you know, we have to provide this type of assistance that is necessary in the criminal section as well as in the litigation civil section. These items are absolutely necessary if we are going to be able to cut the amount of money that we're paying in the area of lawsuits and settlements, as well as judgments that have come out against us. I believe that we can develop the expertise on a citywide basis with the city attorney, and I think that it's important that we do so. For that reason, I would respectfully ask for an aye vote. We have given the police department resources, but we have not, in a commensurate basis, given the city attorney the resources that are needed for him to be able to do his job within the research that he has. So I think it's important. I think that we should support the efforts on the part of the city attorney and the chief of police to minimize the amount of money that we're paying now for outside counsel.
Chick?
Yes, just briefly, I also share concerns in terms of not wanting to necessarily throw more dollars or bodies at a problem, and feel that we are long overdue for improvements in how we handle police litigation. But I will be very interested and eager to share with my colleagues the details as they will be presented to Public Safety Committee on exactly how this is going to work. I am supportive of the fact that we need to make changes, but I think that there's some important information left remaining to be shared when the whole subject of risk management comes forward, and you can tell us how these additional staff positions, in fact, are going to help us lower our liability risk.
Mr. Holden?
Mr. President, members, Mr. Wax, I think you call all of those items associated with the City Attorney's Office special. I guess you have a reason for each and every one of them, or just cluster?
16 right now.
Well, you know, you can't ask the police officer to go out and enforce the law in a very crime-ridden area, and you don't give him this badge and this gun to do just that. It's a symbol of authority. Then once he does his work, we have to prosecute, and we have to, of course, use this to save some money for the city of Los Angeles by having in-house attorneys, very skilled and qualified. Then that's part of the link in the chain. If you make one link strong, the other one weak, then the system is weak. It seems to me at least that we should have the best bodies, best minds available to us with the police department and with the city attorney office, which is a coupled together, that would do the job for the people of this city. So, you know, I just can't understand why we would question this. It's long overdue, and we should move forward and support the request. The committee, I'm sure, studied it long and hard, and Mr. Fuhrer especially. So you're looking for the future. So we want to do this now. Thank you.
Anyone else want to be heard on item number 16? If not, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
15 eyes.
That is approved. And we're going to go back to 15. Mr. Alatorre wanted to be heard on that? Okay. Mr. Wax, do you want to be heard on 15?
I think I called it special, Mr. President.
Okay, press your button.
Okay.
All right, Mrs. Chick.
Yes, I wanted to hear some discussion of this. I remember that starting, 3 or 4 years ago, it seems each budget cycle there is discussion about either combining or deleting pieces of these departments. I certainly understand why the functions of electric inspection and mechanical are important, but I was interested in the potential positives of deleting some of the higher managerial positions in those departments. One, when I saw it wasn't a loss of, it wasn't removing staff, it wasn't deleting people who are employees. And two, because colleagues, I think we are so desperately in need in this city of code enforcement inspections, that if there was a way to save money in an area where a position is not essential, and move that funding to give building and safety more resources in terms of enforcing our codes, many of which contribute to neighborhood blight, that would be a preferred way, in my opinion, of allocating these resources. So I wanted to hear why, in contrast to, I believe, the mayor's recommendation and the CAO-CLA's recommendation, why our ad hoc committee restored these positions. And I would like to hear from CAO and CLA staff, as well as the chair of the committee. Yeah, so if Mr. Wong and Mr. Comrie.
Well, basically, I want to correct something. I think you said that the CLA did not recommend the restoration. That's not true.
Oh,
we did not write a report. What you basically have before you, in the mayor's proposed budget, one item he recommended was consolidate the mechanical and electrical test labs. As I recall, a year or two ago, he wanted to eliminate the whole lab, and these are fee-supported. So my recollection is the committee members felt it was better to keep it separate rather than consolidate it. The other one was deletion of a chief position for the inspection program, as I recall, and I think the committee members felt the same way. They wanted to keep the appropriate level of supervision there.
Councilwoman, I would just say from the mayor's office, we did work very closely with the department in developing these recommendations, and they were in fact supported by and offered by the department. So I think Mr. Edelman can probably speak to why.
The department supported the consolidation of those two positions, and it is felt that we can continue performing at an adequate level after those positions are consolidated.
So, colleagues, I don't know why we're not going ahead with the mayor and the department's recommendation here. I'm not hearing that there will be any denigration of service. Am I correct that there would be a possibility then of beefing up some of our resources on code enforcement and those inspections if you are saving dollars here? The amount is, what, $166,000?
I don't believe there's a direct nexus between this and the code enforcement. I think this is standard.
No, but there would be if I come back with a motion to allocate this money for code inspection, which, as you know, is a recommendation that came out of Public Safety Committee for sign ordinance enforcement and other needs. So
certainly there would be in that case.
I'll be interested to hear from the chair.
Mr. Hernandez.
The general manager, this is your recommendation?
The recommendation was the department's recommendation, yes, sir.
But that's your recommendation. I just want to know who's accountable.
I am accountable, sir.
Okay, now, how much inspections are you doing regarding building and safety that is not special task force oriented?
We do inspections in two areas. We do inspections on new construction and in the code enforcement. And
so when you say new construction, that's part of the permitting process and you collect a fee for that, is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, when you talk about code enforcement, we just sent a lot of inspectors over to housing for the Special Slumlord Task Force. Now, those are task force operations, by the way. Now, I'm asking the regular building and safety inspection program that is not permit funded, how much of that are you doing in regards to this whole city? And why is it that we had to develop special task forces in the first place?
there has been an issue of staffing and so resources for the code enforcement, and that is the whole issue of code enforcement has come to the Public Safety Committee a couple of times and has been referred to the...
Members of the council, he's not giving you the answers. The bottom line is, this particular general manager is in the business of getting out of building inspecting. He doesn't want to be doing that. And by eliminating this position, what you'll be doing is pretty much eliminating that program. I believe that we as a city have a responsibility to inspect our buildings, not only in terms of slumlord task force, but in regards to inspecting of buildings. And that's why I was supporting this motion to reinstate that position. It's an area that the department for years has done very poorly, and it's because it's not fee revenue generating. And our reality is, it is an area that we in the general fund have had to supplement. And it's because, as I see the department willingly give up inspectors for the slumlord task force, the PACE program, and all these other kinds of things, the department is no longer accepting the responsibility of inspecting our buildings. And that is why they're becoming slum buildings. And that's why we're introducing task forces. And I just think that this is an area we have to continue to focus on. And the reality is, because it's not fee generating, is the reason why the department's willing to give it up. What you're going to end up with is a building and safety department that does not inspect buildings, that does not inspect anything that's not new construction. That is the direction, and that's why I have a problem with where the department's going right now.
Ms. Sikowski.
I was curious as to what the chief inspector position is for and what they inspect. Do they inspect commercial buildings where complaints are generated? And then following up on that, I was also concerned, I think as Ms. Chick mentioned, we have a lot of other high priority needs. When I looked at this item, one of the items that I think has been neglected is grading inspectors. And I think you've had discussions with members of my staff, and particularly in the onslaught of El Nino this year, and a lot of problems with grading and illegal grading. If we don't have grading inspectors on the site and able to supervise the site immediately, it becomes a potentially much worse problem that can affect future city liability in terms of where some of this grading occurs illegally. And so my concern was to see inspectors restored in the grading division, where they are very, very, there are positions that haven't been able to be filled, and as a consequence, inspections that aren't able to take place in very precarious hillside conditions. So can you tell me what this chief inspector is for, what they inspect, and relate it, if you would, to the vacancies and positions now not filled in the grading division?
The chief inspector position is a fee-supported position. This chief inspector, which is proposed for elimination, is not the position in the code enforcement site or existing building. It is a fee-supported. It oversees the following functions: disabled access inspection function, which is currently proposed to be consolidated with building inspection. Grading inspection, it will be supervising will be managing the grading inspection, materials controls, materials controls inspection, and some of the earthquake inspection. That is the functions of these chief inspector position, and all of those functions will be consolidated if this proposal goes through, and if the position is eliminated, all those positions will be consolidated in the other chief inspector with the other functions with other chief inspector functions which are currently existing and performing.
Well, in some instances, the chief inspector position is called in when the inspector on the job in the field has either trouble negotiating with a person doing whatever work is there, and it needs the management and supervision of someone at a senior level. As you just explained it, this person is that position, and you believed that eliminating it, you didn't have the need for an additional senior management inspectors in all of those areas where you talked about they would oversee?
Richard Hoagland with Building and Safety also. In all those different functions, we have principal building inspectors that are available for the field staff that would provide that needed supervision. And what we would do in this instance is that these functions would become part of our regular chief inspector that's in charge of the structural in inspection.
So this is a third level. You have the field inspector, the principal inspector, and then a chief inspector who can give a third opinion if necessary after the first two have looked at it?
We have a regular building inspector, a senior inspector, then a principal inspector, then a chief.
This is a third level manager.
Thank you.
Mr. Alatorre?
Mr. President and members, you know, this is about consolidating of the labs. Let me just tell you the practical impact of that. Is that eventually they're going to have to do the work, and they'll end up contracting out. Now, why are we going to do away with an entity or two entities that pretty much are able to subsidize themselves? They bring in about $2 million to the city of Los Angeles, and it just makes no sense. I mean, it's one thing to do away with something and that may be losing money. It's a lost leader. This isn't, and the work still has to be done. And it does, to me, the idea of consolidation, I don't think is necessarily the best. It is, they're paying for themselves, and we made sure that they increase the amount of money that they charge. They do their job. They do it well, and I just don't understand why it is that we want to do that. It makes no sense, and if anybody is going to tell you that by doing doing away with these positions and keeping whatever's there, that they're going to be able to do their job, now come on, folks, that's just not true. People have a hard time doing their job now because of cuts and everything else. So it doesn't make sense to consolidate these labs and do away with each of them when, they're providing revenue to the city of Los Angeles. As for unavailable.
Mr. Holden?
President, members, Mr. Edelman.
Yes, sir.
I really want to work with you. But I got to tell you, I'm getting more confused every day about which way this department is going. Its responsibility before Edelman, responsibility now, and what it's likely to be later on. And what was its function? What was the function that we talked about? Building and safety, inspection, code enforcement, various types of programs. But what I'm hearing is that you're just chopping them off. You're giving some of the responsibility to other departments where they don't have the experience. Even though you're transferring some of the personnel, they don't have the management experience. And then we'll have some growing pains and learn the hard way and try to recover from the problems that we've created. I think we ought to slow down on the direction in which we're going. I think that we should do an assessment what your overall plan of operation is before we go any further. I think you must gain the confidence and give the assurance to the members of the council who are required to satisfy their constituents that they'll still get the same kind of consideration from the standpoint of inspection. I don't have that right now, at that level of confidence that I know I can have with you. And I'm going to vote to restore this position because I'm not sure it should be eliminated right now. On the merits, I'm going to restore it because if it's not broke, don't fix it. And there's some others that I'd like to even talk to you about. And we should have a chance to revisit this whole issue. When you come in with a big broom and you start sweeping with big strokes, you leave a lot of trash behind. Everything don't just go smoothly. And I think that the thing to do is let's hesitate and review. I'm going to give you an aye vote on this one. It's not saying we don't like what Edelman is doing. It's saying we're not sure that we're moving in the right direction. And I think that that's our responsibility. That's why we have these discussions at the budget level. That's why we have debates. And it's not that everybody's always right, but if you're going in a fast direction, if it's wrong, you've gone a long ways off course. If you slow down, if you're right, it's okay. But if you're wrong and you're going real fast, we've done a lot of damage. So I think just some simple analogies suggest that let's be a little bit more patient, a little bit more understanding with what we have. And when you decide to make some radical changes, you can do it with some supportive information and on the merits. I got to go aye.
Mr. Burnson, did you want to be heard on this?
No, it's okay.
Yes, if I could, Mr. President, I'd just like to make a statement that this budget and these two positions were set by the previous management of the department before Mr. Edelman came on board. And there were cuts that we thought were appropriate and that the department could live with.
John, I do want to be heard on this.
Mr.
What I want to ask is these are positions are for the test lab, right?
One.
Just one of the positions is for the test lab?
Yeah, the building mechanical engineer one. Right now, we have an electrical engineer one.
Richard, you know, we went through all of this, and we did maintain the lab for stuff that we thought could not be done by the private sector. But I would much rather, I don't have any objection to putting more inspectors out there where they're needed. And I'll fully support that, because I think we need to do that. But as far, there are some areas where we don't have to have these bodies, and rather than put them in a place just to go through a perfunctory thing, but we're just talking about one additional person for the test lab, is that it?
Yeah, but this is a supervisory position.
Do we need it?
No, we will still have a electrical engineer that'll supervise both labs. And it's functioning now with only the one.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure where this was going.
Mr. Holden is such an expert engineer that he questions every. Ms. Goldberg?
Yes, I actually have changed my position based on this discussion. I supported this in committee, but I think maybe now I did not understand what the positions were fully about. What I'd like to do is really ask, because I think everybody may be in the same quandary I'm in, is exactly what are they doing and so forth. I would like to ask that we take this item, put the 166.5 in the UB, take the positions to to Public Safety Committee and really have a discussion about what the managerial needs, because these are not rank and file, these are managerial positions. I think we have a new manager, we ought to hear what the managerial needs are. The money is preserved in the UB, so it's there. If it turns out they aren't needed, then we can come back and reallocate it for other kinds of code enforcement, but I'm now feeling like I did not understand what these positions were for, and so that would be my motion.
Okay, that motion is made and second. Mrs. Chick?
Well,
Is this speech necessary?
Yeah, that's exactly in line of where I was going. Colleagues, we have a very major discussion that's just begun in Public Safety Committee to take a look at, for instance, the kinds of issues that Mr. Hernandez raised, that, you know, we've all jumped on the bandwagon appropriately of wanting proactive code enforcement. But in effect, we have not been allocating the needed resources to Building and Safety Department to do that. So rather than be critical of this management or the prior management of the department, in fact, we need to look to ourselves, since we are the decision makers on where we're putting our resources. In terms of the moving of code enforcement of multiple family from Building and Safety, Mr. Holden, a very well-populated by about 7 council members, ably chaired by council member Zavornich. Your ad hoc committee on substandard housing is the committee at the recommendations of the Blue Ribbon Citizens Committee that is doing that. So I would very much ask my colleagues' support to hold this money in the UB And let us make this a part of what we are looking at in terms of proactive code enforcement, and I will commit to having a speedy report back to the full council within 4 to 6 weeks. Thank
Mr.
you.
Hernandez?
You know, members of the council, I appreciate Ms. Goldberg's motion, and I plan to support it, but I really want to put an emphasis on what I'm trying to point out here. We shouldn't have needed a slumlord task force to come up with the regulations to inspect our buildings. And the reality is this department has slowly but surely given up that responsibility. And as a city, our buildings are basically not up to code. And we're not only looking at those buildings that are in worse conditions, we're talking about just the general buildings in terms of the city. I was frustrated because I knew that the department could not follow through on inspections. They would do an inspection and they would not follow through on the corrections. And we did a study where we found out they couldn't follow through in more than 25% in the Westlake area. And so the department doesn't have the capability to do that. And so they've been letting go of it more and more. And the question really becomes, is this department supposed to inspect buildings? Not just new construction, not just the things that bring in money to the city, but the responsibility of making sure residents are safe. And so to me, that's something I need public safety to look at, but I don't see where the department can get off on cutting positions, because we've been doing that for them. And our realities are, this department needs to supervise its inspectors. They got to make sure they have sufficient inspectors to do the job. And I'm just at a query as to why this recommendation is being made, especially when it's fee supported. It makes no sense. And again, Mr. Edelman has a lot of explaining to me, but I wasn't blaming him for the lack of inspections under the previous head. I will blame him for the ones that aren't happening now.
Mr. Holden?
Is this position currently filled, yes or no?
The position is filled, but it will
That's
not...
enough. The position is filled.
The mechanic, one is filled, one is not, I
The
understand.
position is filled. You know, I don't think we ought to be hassling around with people's jobs. And I don't think, Ms. Goldberg, this position is filled. It's a good chance the person has been in the job for a long time. I think it sends the wrong signal to those people at that level that they have a job, you have a job not. We're not pulling sunflower seeds, you know. Yes, no, yes, no. I think if you want to look at the policy and refer that to the committee, fine. But I think in the interim, we ought to restore this position, period. We ought to restore this position. I think that there's some underlying problems going on there and the personality things that shouldn't cause things to happen the way they are happening. Shouldn't be that way at all. Now, I know what I know, and that is we got some pretty good service on the PACE program from some of these individuals in our community. And I would say to you that there's no way that I can vote on this item to go to committee. Now, you can take the idea, the policy question to committee, but not on this item.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Goldberg to put the funds in the UB and send the item to the Public Safety Committee. Prepare the roll on that. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes, 4 noes.
That is approved. The next item is 17.
No, they transferred it to the UB and put it on.
Mr. Wax, press your button.
I think it's sent to the UB and hold it.
I thought that the discussion and the explanation in item 16 regarding the police division was really good and certainly justified the action. Could you tell me what number 17 doesn't indicate any allocation to any area within the department? What is number 17?
Well, these were 12 positions which you might recall had been deleted by the mayor in the current year's budget about a year ago.
Yeah.
And which we came to the council and during the fiscal year and prevailed on the council to reinstate the positions. There were mainly these positions are throughout the office. It was a mayor attrition, if you will. So the matter has been considered by the council, voted to reinstate those
Okay.
positions because of the
I
need.
did not vote for that at that time, so this would just be to, in essence, reaffirm that prior vote.
Exactly.
Okay,
and to
well,
fund those
I
positions.
don't see the justification for this that you made for number 16, so I'm going to be consistent, vote no on it.
Mr. Alatorre?
Mr. President and members, I don't quite understand. I mean, if there is an increase in the workload, people are being put in jail, they're being prosecuted. Now, we have to provide the services for the attorneys that are needed for them to do their work. If you have untimely filings, many times it's because there's not adequate support staff for them to just do the typing, do all the work that is necessary to, present the case before the judges. We've increased the size of police departments. So, you would imagine that they're going to be involved in upholding the law, and there are more people that are going to court. In order for them the city attorney, to do their work that you have asked them to do, they have to have the staff to do it. Very simple. We took a position a year ago or thereabouts to give them the 12 positions. They're already there. And I don't understand why you would want to not fund them so that the attorneys that we are increasing as a result of our actions are able to do their work, the routine things that you may take for granted, but are necessary for the city attorney to be able to discharge his responsibility that we have given him and the people of the city of Los Angeles have given him. So it doesn't make sense, ladies and gentlemen, not to provide him these 12 positions. I would ask for an aye vote.
Mr. Holden?
Mr. President, members, this city attorney is term limited. So he's not asking anything for himself for any kind of election like some of you might be. But be assured of the fact that he's giving you an honest opinion as relates to his request. He needs to provide for the city's protection an adequate, not a lot of them, but an adequate number of city attorneys in order to do the job. He's saying, hey, I've been working with a short staff, a very short staff, but there's no reason why we shouldn't have more people. In fact, for item number 17, it's already been funded. Funding for the following 12 positions. All right. So let's do it. And I see no reason why we should not vote aye with the recommendation of the committee. Just it makes no sense to do otherwise. Jimmy Hahn and his staff clearly understands why these positions should be filled, and therefore let's do it.
Okay, we have item 17. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes, 1 no.
That is approved. Item number 18. Mr. Wax?
18, I think, is quite different than 17 because it is basically prosecuting what we have now just given to the department in terms of added housing code enforcement, and I think that speaks for itself, so I'm happy to support 18.
Any discussion? Prepare the roll on 18. Tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
That is approved. Item 19, Mr. Wax.
Could you give an explanation to this? This is not a new assignment. This is just, what, more people to do a job that you've been doing? Or would you explain what it is you're asking for and why you need them?
Yes, Councilman and members, if I may. This is, in fact, asking for 6 additional deputy city attorneys to perform the criminal prosecutions. What we're finding are actually 3 forces working against us in performing our function. One is just being low of attorneys to begin with, but also that we're finding more and more courts are converting to direct calendar courts, where in the same courtroom we will have a deputy who will be responsible for the arraignments, for all of the pretrial, and for all of the trials for that particular calendar. So rather than having a court where the attorney is doing simply arraignments and one arraignment after another, that attorney is responsible not for one case at a time, but for the current case before him or her and the additional 30 cases which pile up and require service. And so it gives us less flexibility in leaving a courtroom open or dark. Secondly, we're also preparing for court consolidation. Right now we have court cooperation where we are finding our cases being sent out to other courtrooms that we would not normally staff.
Yes, but we're well aware of court consolidation.
And we are...
Go ahead.
We are
Faster.
anticipating...
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, in response to...
Okay, wait. Mr. Comrie, did the city attorney make this request of the mayor and the mayor did not go along with it? Is that it?
I believe so. The city attorney...
And what was the mayor's reasoning for not including it?
Just to limit the overall city budget, trying to keep it within balance.
Okay.
Also want to be heard on 19? If not, prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
No.
That is approved. Now we have item 20, Mr. Wax.
Could you give an explanation of that? I voted no, Mr. Holt.
Yes, our office has, at least in the civil branch that I can speak to, has approximately 185 attorneys with, other than secretarial and clerk support, no support whatsoever in terms of law clerks or paralegals to speak of. Paralegals, we have, I think, currently in our office a total of 11 authorized or 12 authorized. There's a drastic need for the kind of support that paralegals perform so that attorneys won't have to be doing the documentary retrieval, Xeroxing in preparation to interrogatories and discovery. We've actually asked for a larger number, as you may recall, last 2 years ago, 18, we received 4, and this is a modest increase in that, so we can enable our litigators at least to perform their job more effectively.
Okay, again, did you make this request to the mayor in this year's budget?
We did.
Okay, I mean, theoretically, I agree with you. You don't need extremely high-paid people doing certain kinds of jobs. It's just not cost-efficient. The question is, do you have an adequate number of people, both as paralegals and in other positions that are not quite paralegal, to do some of the things? You don't need a paralegal to Xerox something.
Correct. We have a
you do need paralegals to do certain kinds of functions that other people can't. I guess the question is I mean, every department could make a case for more people, and the mayor tries to go through this and keep a budget in balance. I notice, if I could ask you, because remember we could take care of 21, although it's a different thing. I know 21 seems to be a way of paying for all the prior. Is 21, Mr. Alatorre, a way of paying for the prior 5 issues?
That is correct.
Okay. So basically, you're trying to pay for all of these increased personnel within the department from taking money out of the fund set aside for using outside attorneys.
Right.
And what happens if you run out of that fund for outside attorneys? What do? Come back and ask for more from the unappropriated balance? How does that work, Mr. Wong?
Yes, that's what would happen. If they run out of money, they would have to come back.
And how safely do you feel, in terms of last year, did we spend all the money that was set aside for that last year?
As I recall, there was roughly $4 million transferred from liability claims to pay for outside attorneys. To be fair on it, though, some were very specialized cases. But I think there was
there has to be a reason to begin with. But it looks easy now because we're going to take money out of a big pot that's set aside for one thing and say reduce it a little. But if history shows us that that pot that we set aside is used up, you'll be coming back and asking for money for these things as opposed to simply transferring. Is that right?
I think historically they have used over $2 million for outside attorneys for overflow. So they're saying that if you give them the additional staff, they won't have to add for
Okay,
outside
great.
attorneys.
Then
That's what we would try.
let's just record this and keep this on record, and when
That's
they
right.
come back asking for the money, we will play this tape.
We'll also keep on record that federal judge that keeps causing us to spend out tons of money on the outside counsel. Mr. Fuhr.
Well, since you and I are still members of the bar, if you run out of money, I think we're going to end up handling cases for the city. No, I think that we're all in agreement here. The highest and best use of time is not to do work that law clerks could be performing in the office. It's going to be cheaper in the long run. I think there's unanimity. I'm not going to say anymore. I just move it.
Mr. Alatorre?
You're right, just ask for 9 votes.
All right, prepare the roll on item number 20. Tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
That is approved. Now we have 21. Any discussion on 21? Mr. Hernandez?
I just, this is kind of a curious thing to me, how we come up with estimates of what we believe we're going to be spending in terms of our liability account.
That's all they are, estimates.
Yeah, and we always have to go to the reserve fund if we don't have those estimates, or general obligation bonds and so forth. And I know that we've had some potential liability out there, for example, with a helicopter crash and a young child and so forth. Do you have an idea of or could you explain to me what the process is for determining what dollar figure should be in that liability account?
We look at two things, mainly two things. One is our recent historical experience, and also we try to review all the various litigation or liability cases that we have that we believe may be concluded within the next fiscal year. Of course, again, that's a guess as to whether they will or won't be concluded during that time. But we look at both. The historical experience in the last 2 years, upon which we base the belief that it would be reasonable to make this reduction, is that this current year we're coming in at about the amount budgeted, which is $44 million. However, that includes within it an expenditure of approximately $12 million for other items out of that fund, including $5 million for the workers' comp program, some other transfers for outside counsel, specialized counsel and the like, which we anticipate would be reduced. So we're left with about $32 million in liabilities that are being paid out of that fund this year. The year before, it was about $25.7 million. We feel comfortable in making this reduction because of that.
So then, based on that, each of the previous 2 years, it went up?
It's actually down from the year before that, when it was about $42 million, as I recall.
Okay, so then 3 years ago we had 42, then it went to 25, and then it went to 32.
Correct.
And right now you feel comfortable staying at 42?
Yes.
Okay. And that's based on an analysis of the potential cases we have out there?
Yes.
Anyone else want to be heard? If not, prepare the roll on 21. Tabulate the vote.
Thank you.
That's 15 ayes. Next item would be 23. Who called 23 special?
What item are we on?
Mr. Holden, did you call it?
No. 23.
No.
Dr. Holden, did you want to be heard?
Yes, Mr. President. I move the previous question.
Okay. Okay, no one wants to be heard, so prepare the roll on 23. Tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Thank you, Dr. Holden. He went down to Tijuana and got one of those certificates. Next item. 37 is the next one. Ms. Sikowski. Cindy, press your button.
I've had my questions answered on number 37, Mr. President.
Okay.
Mr. Hernandez says, why didn't you say Italy?
Okay, we have item 37. Any discussion? If not, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
That is approved. 38 is next. Mr. Wax?
Did you have your...
Special, Mr. President.
Yeah, did you...
No, I have, now 38, I had...
Mrs. Sikowski go first.
My question is actually for the CAO and perhaps the CLA. I have no problem with having the expanded security services operation here in City Hall on P1. It needs to be done, but my question is, why isn't it coming out of the seismic bond money that all of our council offices was, how they were done, and why are we taking it out of the general fund? It seems to me that as we moved here, where all the new services, all the new offices, redoing City Hall East into City Hall, that this should also have been coming out of the seismic bond and allow this money to either go to into the general fund reserve or allocated for some of the other purposes.
My recollection, I may be wrong, is the security services have always been in this building. So there was short space. I think there was a consultant study to beef up security. One of the recommendations was provide more space, and I think it's because it's here that it's not eligible for seismic bonds.
But, I mean, obviously, there's more of them here now as a consequence of this shift from the building across the street, and why that couldn't have been built into our office expansions under the seismic bond.
Generally, under the seismic bond issue, we're funding things to help with the seismic improvements, and this is an existing operation that wasn't created as a result of the earthquake.
No, but council offices weren't created as a consequence of the
Well, they had to
earthquake
be
either,
moved,
and we
though.
had to be moved.
They had to be moved, and this is something that we would have normally done, I think, anyway.
I think they were already headquartered in this facility. So
All of
even
them
though
between the two
I
buildings?
think because they headquartered out of here, so the lack of space was always there. It wasn't as a result of moving them
They
from...
didn't have a sub-headquarters over
I don't
the other
think
building?
they did. My recollection is the headquarters were always here, and they just dispatched from here over to City Hall, and then we report back here.
So you're saying as a consequence in that analysis, it's not eligible for the
That's my
seismic?
recollection, yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Mr. Wax?
Mr. Comrie, is there any relation of this item to the item that we debated previously in council regarding arming the security people and giving them raises?
No, sir. This is locker rooms, and the headquarters. It has nothing to do with the raises.
This is not for personnel, it's for physical plant.
Right.
Okay.
Ms. Goldberg, did you want to be heard on this? Ms. Goldberg?
I'm sorry, I was distracted. I only wanted to mention on this item that it was my understanding some of it is the physical building. Have they addressed your question about where the source of funding has come from already? Okay, then I didn't need to speak.
All right, Mr. Alatorre?
Very simply, Mr. President, it's, we have security officers that work for general services and work for us. And we have to provide them, as part of their job, provide them the physical facilities for them to be able to work in and not to be depressed in. So I would ask for an aye vote. It's very consistent with the SNAP report that was made, that was requested by the City Council. Ask for an aye vote.
No one else? Prepare the roll on item 38. Tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
That is approved. Next item, item 40. 40. Any discussion on 40?
Ask for an aye vote. All this is it's a reduction of the amount of money that we thought we were going to have to.
Okay,
spend.
prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
Phase 1.
15 ayes. The matter is approved. Next item is 44. 44. Who called 44 special?
Galanter.
Oh, Ms. Galanter.
Just wanted to know whether this was one of those positions that where we're dealing with primarily with a single property owner, in which case we have a provision called something like the Special Project Something or Other Fund that they pay into to help defray the cost.
You're referring to Warner Center?
Yeah.
No, this is the entire specific plan area, which is quite large, and
So we have no way of getting anyone to contribute to the funding.
there's no one
Okay.
development.
Thank
It's
you.
a large area.
Mr. Hernandez?
The department didn't have the adequate staffing to finish the other specific planned areas?
This particular item, Warner Center, was, there was a lawsuit and
Right, I
something that had to
understand
be
the lawsuit.
followed up. We're attempting to do updates of other specific plans with the staff and the Community Planning Bureau.
Is it going to take lawsuits on the other ones to get staffing?
Well, certainly a lawsuit forces the timetable.
Well, the reason I'm asking the question, and again, in particular, I'm concerned about the Westlake Community Plan. I'm concerned about the Northeast Community Plan. The Northeast Community Plan's been already extended who knows how many times, but hopefully we're about ready to close it. What I didn't want to hear is that we don't have the staffing for those things to happen.
No, for the community plan updates, the budget includes the staffing that we need for the conclusion of the community plan update program.
Okay.
Anyone else want to be heard on 44? If not, prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
15 eyes.
That is approved. 46 is next. Mr. Wax, 46. Press your button.
Does 46...
No.
I just did. Does 46 take $750,000 from the DARE program?
No. What it does is substitutes general fund money for this litigation money that the mayor had proposed. DARE stays untouched.
Okay, the DARE program will get the amount.
That's correct.
And you'll just reduce the unappropriated balance by a corresponding amount.
Yeah, reduce the trust fund, because what the mayor had done is he had proposed using the settlement money we got on the anti-smoking.
No, this will say don't use the settlement
Right,
money
use
for
general
that.
fund.
You will then take
Use general fund.
$750,000 from the unappropriated balance
right.
and give it to the
Right,
DARE
that's
program. So
correct.
the DARE program is whole.
That's correct.
Mr. Fuhrer?
Actually, Joel, let me be a little clearer. The settlement at stake here is a $1.5 million settlement. They originally proposed putting 1.5 into DARE. This takes out half of that. Half of the money remains with DARE. The other half comes out and is backfilled by general fund dollars and is available for other anti-smoking campaigns or other proposals that might come to the council. In our committee, the Arts Committee, will be coming at least a couple different proposals, one of which the city attorney has, others may have other proposals, and very soon we'll be determining to what to devote the balance of the fund. But part of it is going to this program. And DARE, the bottom line, the committee wanted to assure that DARE be made whole and at the same time have some of this money available for other purposes.
Okay, prepare the roll on 46. Tabulate the vote.
15 eyes.
That is approved. 48. Mr. Wax, I think you call that special. If you press your button.
This does need an explanation as to why we're reducing the amount of savings that they said that they were going to provide.
The department argued very strongly, since they've been in a down mode for years, they can't afford that highest salary savings amount, and the committee agreed with that.
And why, do you agree with it, Mr. Comrie?
Yes, their salary accounts are very tight. When they're coming down like this, staff's constantly coming out, they don't have as many vacancies anymore.
Mr. Wallner?
What is the, what is the reason you had a higher figure prior to this?
In the past, when they were growing very rapidly, as you're coming up, you can't fill as fast, so it was increased to reflect that they wouldn't be filled. Now they've come down dramatically.
I see.
The jobs are all filled, and they can't afford that level anymore.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Alatorre?
Very simply, this is a fair, way of dealing with the attrition problem that they have. Nobody wants to cut the number of times that the trash is picked up in residences. The practical impact, if we are not able to deal with this, is that some cuts are going to have to be made. Doesn't make sense. I mean, if anything, I think people have asked for more. They would like to have them picked up more often, if at all possible. So I don't think this is a wise decision. I'd ask for an aye vote. That's the reason we did it.
Okay, prepare the roll on 48. Tabulate the vote.
Eyes.
Next item would be 52.
This is, Mr. President, this just restores the line item that we once had for the uncertainties that come up, you know, on a day-to-day basis, on a week-to-week basis. We put in $2,000 in line item. We just, all we did, $2 million. All that we did is just restore it and put in $2 million into it. Ask for an aye vote.
Any discussion on 52? If not, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
That is approved. Item 54, Mr. Alatorre, as chairman of the committee, you want to speak on these items first and explain maybe the...
Well, this is, there are about 3 of them that we have, and they were requested by certain members. I think that if you have ever called 911, you know, it speaks for itself. And some of them, one of them deals with a universal non-emergency line for the LAPD. One deals with 2 positions needed to provide access to the general public to develop and maintain city services database. The other one, there's another one. No, those are the main ones.
Right.
Okay, and they were requested by members, and
I think this was discussed in public safety, as I recall, and I think it came out of Councilman Chick's committee. So what the committee wanted, or ITA's committee, and what the committee wanted to do was recognize the fact that we'd have to put money aside for that program. This does that.
Actually, all I'm asking, colleagues, is not to have it in the UB, but to give it directly to the department. You know, we're lifting the hiring freeze, we're letting general managers decide. So my request is to simply change the wording here, add 9 months funding to ITA for the 2 positions and strike to the unappropriated balance. That gives the department the ability to start this up and running without having to go through the same convolutions that the hiring freeze has imposed.
Yeah, that's fine.
Great.
Ms. Goldberg?
I was on 55. Are you on 55?
No.
Okay. I got you.
54.
Thank you.
Mr. Fuhr, did you want to?
I just wanted to, we had worked on this in ITA, and I had asked that this be put in the committee, and I want to stand in support of Ms. Chick's motion to have it go right to the department. Let's just get it done.
Okay, so we have the amendment. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
That is approved. Okay, Ms. Goldberg, we didn't, 55 was not called special.
Oh, was it?
No. Did you want?
Okay.
You want to reconsider?
Oh, no. Yes. That's okay. Well, I want to ask a question. I can't move to reconsider, but I can't actually.
What is your question? Ask me, and I'll...
My question really was where are we in the famous LAUSD negotiations, which this alludes to, because for those of you who aren't on the committee, the mayor's office, having been assured that LAUSD would put $3.5 million into the recreation program by the superintendent of schools. Some of us were later informed that that $3.5 million, in fact, didn't happen. And so this was, I think, the placeholder for saying, no?
It's a different thing.
Different then. Okay.
Mr. President, let me...
That's what I was looking for. That's why the question I was going to ask. Is this the placeholder?
Mr. Fuhr?
Yeah.
If this is not the placeholder, then we should wait
No,
for the
actually, just
placeholder.
very quickly, a number of us have been working very hard to establish uniform joint use agreements between the district and the city to assure that as schools become open space, they can be public space for park purposes, basically, in neighborhood after neighborhood. That joint use agreement is actually going to the school board tonight, and I hope for affirmation, so we can actually move forward with that. This, for the first time, would put some money aside into the budget to enable us to have some supervision on those sites, so they aren't just open with no one there overseeing what's going
Never
on.
mind,
Okay. So, Mr. Hernandez,
as
did
Gilda
you...
used to say.
On 55?
Yeah, so Mr. Fuhr, what you're saying is we're setting aside $100,000 from the unappropriated fund for after-school activities and Saturdays for those places where we can come up with those kinds of agreements?
Yes.
Even though we might be cutting $3.5 million for after-school activities?
No, I'm happy to talk about that now. If
No,
you
we don't want
like.
to talk about that.
Yeah. No, there are two different. No,
I understand it's for usage.
Yeah. I spoke with the superintendent last night. Between the school district and the city, none of us is going to allow there to be an elimination or reduction in the after-school programming that you're referring to. Separate from that is this joint use approach where there is school after school, which ought to be available to the public but is not. And this is not for studying that. This is to have physical people on site to assure that those schools can be open without any liability problems so they can be supervised.
No, and
But on the 3.5, we're in agreement. We're not going to let that go away.
No, I appreciate your concerns. I'm still dealing with high schools who don't even have football fields, and so I'm trying to figure out how to get them open.
Let's move that we provide a football field for Mr. Hernandez.
Well, don't be using those systems, Mr. President.
If they're 300-pounders and they're 280, I'll see if
I
we
will
can
second your motion.
We'll get the USC.
I second your motion, Mr. President.
Okay, we've already taken action on that, so we won't. Then item 56 is, who called 56? Mr. Wax? Press your button.
Mr. Comrie, this is providing $1 million more, what, to the HMOs that
To our
provide
health insurance fund, which is about $70 million. The general manager personnel testified that there have been some changes in the field. He might need more money mid-year.
Okay,
so
what are we getting in return for this? What are the city employees getting in return for this?
all of their health insurance coverage.
No. These are, it says
there's no
anticipated
enhanced
health
coverage.
subsidy increases.
There's no enhanced coverage here. This is merely the utilization rate might change during the year.
Okay, but the providers themselves are not upping the price for the service, are they?
Not for this money.
Well,
There
for
are-
what money?
There are built-in increases next year in the budget. He thought they might not be sufficient. This is
Don't
more
we
reserved.
have contracts with the providers to provide a certain amount of services for a certain amount of cost?
But they also include cost of living escalators, and they're
They
not
do.
all certain yet.
And what you're saying is that the increases are those that are provided already in the agreements.
That's
They're not going beyond that.
That's right. Correct. That's right.
Okay.
Okay, any further discussion on 56? Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
15 eyes.
And that is approved. Item 71 is next, I believe.
Yeah.
71.
Could we have an explanation of this?
This just recognizes your previous action where we reduced the salary savings figure from 4.5, well, this is
I
4.5,
see.
2.5 on the sewer construction maintenance. It makes the revenue transfer to match that out of the sewer construction maintenance fund. We're lowering in that area also the salary savings rate because they've attrition down.
Mr. Burnson?
Yeah, what this involves is adding 1.5 million to the revenue bond line item, right? What we're actually doing is, this reflects an increase in the sewer service charge?
No.
Where's this money going to come from then?
This comes out of the sewer construction and maintenance fund. It's a large fund, and it's under the current rates this comes out of. It doesn't change the
Where does
rate.
that fund come from?
Sewer service charges to industry and individuals.
So it comes out of the sewer service charge?
Yes.
But not directly?
No, it comes directly out of it, but this
But
does
I
not
mean, it
require an
comes to
increase.
this separate fund, but it comes from the sewer service charge.
Right.
And therefore, it's probably, is this something that would be reflected as a lawful, proper use of these funds?
Oh, yes, it's the staff that actually operate the sewer plant.
Let me ask you a question, Mr. Connery, and let me ask, what has happened? I'm going to ask the city attorney while we've got everybody here. Where is the audit that was requested by this council on the sewer service charges? That was, how many years ago was that, Mr. Wax, that we got the council to approve a request for this audit? Isn't it time that we stepped up to the plate and let the public know that these funds are being used properly? When we have constituents that their sewer service charges are 50% higher than their water bill, I don't know how many calls you're getting, but we get a lot. And I'm just wondering what's happened to our audit. Can somebody tell me?
Ann Gianni from Sanitation's here should have a status report on it.
We did do some preliminary work, and we submitted a document to the CLA last week, and we are in the process.
Just last week?
Yes, it was a long...
And this is just preliminary work? This was at least 2 to 3 years ago.
Oh, no, this is in response to your motion from September the 16th.
My recent motion to
Correct.
see where the heck that was.
Yes, and we have a document that we are in production with, and we'll be able to distribute it probably next week to council members.
Members, I want to tell you, I understand the need for funds, and I know we need to provide services. But we are going to find ourselves, unless we can substantiate the fact that these sewer service charges are being used for what the law requires they be used for, and that was on the court order, then we are going to be liable, just as we were on the parking funds that were taken out of a trust fund and other funds that we have for certain types of things. So I would hope that we can get this audit as quickly as possible. I hope the CLA is listening. They have the information?
Yes.
Where's the CLA? Mr. Deaton, are you listening to this? That has gone to your office, the information from Public Works on the audit. Now, can we get this back to the council within a reasonable period of time? Do you have any idea when that'll be?
Would you define reasonable?
Well, I want to pin you down a little bit. When can we expect it? You have it in committee in a couple, 3 weeks? Okay, very good, thank you. This money is already in the pipeline. It's not going to go for any it's not going to result in any increased charges. Is that correct?
That's right.
Okay.
Okay, anyone else? If not, prepare the roll on 71. Tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
How many ayes?
15.
Oh, I thought you said 18 ayes.
That is approved.
Okay, you're doing charter reform.
Next item is 74. Let's hold that on the desk. Mr. Holden, is Mr. Holden in the room? I think he's absent right now. He wants to go get his evidence that he's a doctor. Next item is 75. Item 75.
Yeah, I called it special.
We're holding 74 on the desk. Who calls 75? Ms. Goldberg, you want to be heard?
Not if there's no one who wants to.
Mr. Savornich?
There was a correction on that.
Right. The one question I do have, this is an ordinance that we passed last year, and I believe that we are awaiting an audit back from, is it the CLA, the CAO, or the controller?
I think it's an outside consultant that's going to report back on.
It's supposed to be coming, it's
Yeah,
coming
it's on its
forthwith.
way back. This was slightly different. What the ordinance provided for was living wage for those who contract with the city. I think what this has to do with is saying that within the city family, that there are some city employees evidently that we do not pay the living wage to. And this merely says that we set aside money in the UB to take a look at that issue to come back to the council for approval.
Well, according to the report from the committee, however, it says instruct city controller to revert funds in the 1997-98 unappropriated balance for living wage ordinance contract cost increases.
Right, and that was what was set aside for this year, but we have not spent that cost increase with outside contracts. So what the committee is suggesting is, since that money won't be spent, use the same money to look at living wage for city employees.
What was the reason why the $1.5 million was not spent on the contracts? Was there not an increase to the contracts because of the living wage ordinance?
My understanding is if there were any increases, the department must have absorbed it. We had set this aside for that increase, but we did not get requests throughout the year for use of those funds.
Can we assume that absorbed cost within the city departments or any other entity within the city family will be reflective in the audit?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand the question. Say it again.
Yeah, any of the increased costs to any departments or entities within the city family will be reflective in the audit that is going to be forthcoming by the contractor that is hired to perform the audit.
That's correct.
That is correct?
Yes.
Okay, so the only thing that we're asking here is for the $1.5 million that was in last year's budget in regards to implementing a projected increase in city contracts with the living wage, which did not occur because the city departments absorbed it, to transfer this money to make the pay within the city family conform with the living wage
That's
ordinance.
correct.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, briefly, we had, during the hearings on the living wage for contract employees, had received some indication that there were no city employees that fell below the line, so we didn't make the ordinance affect our own house. Now we have had a very thorough investigation by the CAO and the CLA's office of where there are some, not large number, but a significant still number of positions that do fall below that, and we are putting this aside, and we're going to address that with the various bargaining units that those employees are in.
Information before us at this time is saying that the living wage ordinance has not impacted outside contracts in regards to a cost factor. I mean, what we're saying, it's been working in a very positive manner. Is that correct?
Which is due, I believe, this week. Actually, I think it's Wednesday that we will be hearing it.
But what the ordinance did help us do is identify positions within our own city family.
Yes.
That we weren't paying a minimum, a living wage.
That's correct.
And is there any, could you kind of describe some of those positions by title?
They're in the Rec and Parks Department.
And
the
crossing guards.
Crossing guards, the pool people, a whole series of various jobs.
And council members.
Thank you. Okay.
Actually, believe it or not, there are some council office 1 positions that don't meet the living wage in a few offices.
Okay, Jackie, you should correct that in your office. Anyone
I'm
else
working
wanna-
on it immediately.
Anyone else want to be heard on 75? If not, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
14 eyes.
14 ayes, that's approved. Mr. Holden, did you want to take up, Mr. Holden, would you, come on. Hey, Dr. Holden wants to show everybody his doctorate. And Nate, I want to assure you that that certificate and 50 cents will get you a cup of coffee in a lot of cheap restaurants. We're going to have item 74, Mr. Holden.
I didn't call it special, someone did. I just want to be for the debate. I think I vote.
Mr. Wax wants to be heard.
What are position authorities for commissioners?
Just as any other position, there has to be an authority to hire on the commissioner classification, so you'd actually put it in a personnel ordinance.
The appointed commissioners these are citizen commissioners.
Yes, they're splitting the commission into 2 pieces.
But commissioners have position authorities?
Yes. Now, they get some of them get meeting fees too, and I assume that's one of the reasons they have to be listed in the salary ordinance.
I never knew there was actually position authorities for commissioners.
What kind of fees do they get?
So much per meeting, I guess.
$50?
$50?
Yeah, most of them are waived right now.
But
I think
the most have been waiving it, and they get $1 a year or something?
Right.
Okay, so basically the 104th, the rest of the money then is really more for the executive assistant and the administrator?
That's right. It's salary money for those people, not the commission.
Anyone else want to be heard on 74? If not, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
15 eyes.
That is approved. Now, I think 79 is the next one. 79.
79C. Could someone explain 79C? And
That was just a mistake, I think, in the printed budget. In the printed budget the mayor submitted, talked about the unallocated portion, and really it's all allocated. So it just corrects the typographical error.
Okay, but
in the budget.
this in no way it changes the percent for art program
No, it
in
doesn't
any
change
way.
anything. It was just a mistake.
Okay, we have 79 before us. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
15 eyes.
That is approved. Item number 80.
Ask for an aye vote.
Who called 80
I
special?
don't know.
Did you call 80, Mike?
This is, all this is, it was requested by the general manager. All it is just a reallocation of a position to, having a principal public relations representative. It's about marketing, it's about improving the facility.
Members of the council, and again, I don't have a problem with the motion. What I did want to point out is, as we as a city continue to staff El Pueblo at city, basically the way the city, there is a reflected deficit of about 132,000. And at some point, that authority has to be allowed to operate as an independent authority, and we should be taking that into account as to what will be the most cost-effective way for that park to continue its operations. I don't have a problem with this public relations position, and at the same time, I don't want us to be assuming that that's part of a debt that the city has to cover. I want us to understand these are our decisions, and we're basically putting those on the monument, on the authority, and at the same time accept that reality.
Okay, anyone else want to be heard on 80? If not, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
That is approved. The next item I have is 85, is that correct?
Let me have a copy too. You never forget where you went one time.
Who called 80? We just did 80. 85, who called 85 special? Mr. Wax, press your button.
I think I might need Mr. Deaton for this. 85. Does this give effect to the agreement that was worked out with all the parties on the Prima 2000?
Mr. Wax, basically what this does is say that once that agreement goes to council through the GE committee and is approved, the transfers will take place.
But part of that was to, part of the agreement we worked out, however, and I guess we'll have that debate later, though, was to be able to go back if it wasn't working.
Exactly. What we will do.
And this will accommodate.
That will accommodate. We will be in that process accommodating.
Because we're going to take a chance, but we're going to have to be.
We're going to cover our chance.
Bigger enough to know if we're not doing it right, we're going to have to be able to go back. And that was part of the agreement.
Exactly.
And this will accommodate that.
Right. And what this basically says, when that agreement goes to council and is adopted, then the positions can be transferred.
Okay.
Mr. Alatorre?
No, that's, I just wanted to, for Joel, it's basically to implement what it is that we're doing. This is a placeholder for in case it doesn't do what it's supposed to do.
Ms. Goldberg?
And it also gives us time, there's significant, specific personnel issues that a transfer of this type involves, because seniority, for example, is by department in the city. And so when you move to there, if you had to move back, will you lose all of your seniority? So, we have to work those things out before we do it, so that everybody knows what's happening to everybody in terms of the various and sundry personnel issues, and that's what we're working on.
It would be good if we could anticipate some of those and try to get them.
Well, that's what we're trying to do. The personnel department's working very closely, and we're trying to anticipate them right now.
Okay, we have 85 before us. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote. That is approved. Item number 86 would be next.
Explanation.
86 came up because some of the smaller departments have department heads that are not in the merit pay plan, like the Department of Disabilities, a brand new one, Children, Youth, and Families. They've asked us to report back to see if they should be part of the merit pay program.
Okay, any discussion?
Supposed to get one.
86 is before us. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
That is approved. 88 would be next. Mr. Savornis, did you call 88? He's satisfied, so prepare the roll on 88. Tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
That is approved. 91 would be next.
I don't care about this.
91, who called that? Mr. Wax?
Specifically, what would be coming from the CDD to the Department of Aging?
The Department of Aging has identified a number of functions, and I believe they're here, that they think should be looked at. This requires a report back before any action is taken.
Joel, if I can, on your time, just real quickly. There are a number of human services programs that are currently funded by CDD that are actually specifically focused on serving senior citizens.
Yeah, true.
Because there are some senior programs in aging and some in CDD, it's really impossible for some person to be accountable for prioritizing those and presenting that prioritization to the city council for some deliberations. We have Ann Smith, we have Parker Anderson. It's not a good system when it's separated this way. So there is action that's been underway for some time between CDD and aging staff to come up with a list of those programs that should be transferred. There's agreement about those programs, right, Mr. Anderson?
That's correct.
And the question now is, administratively, how do we secure that they be assured they be moved
And
from
then
one
would
person
the
to another?
future, would the monies be obtained by the Department of Aging, or would they continue to be obtained by CDD and transferred over, or how would that work?
Well, I think that's the key question. Right now, we're looking at the Human Services Delivery System with the task force to determine what the priority should be for social services money in the city. That's not been completed, so it's not clear whether that would be a future priority or a larger priority or less.
At this point, you're jointly studying this.
No, the study has been, is this on?
There are 14 programs that total approximately $1.9 million in the Human Services Delivery System that serve exclusively senior citizens.
Yes.
If the desire is to transfer those programs, those in fact would be the programs
But the
transferred.
decision to do that hasn't been made yet.
That's my understanding. We've been directed to identify the specific actions to cause that to occur.
And to come to with a report to Mr. Furer's committee?
Right.
Okay. When
Probably a joint committee of Mr. Hernandez and myself.
Yeah. This is a really, I mean, so today, we simply, we wouldn't be taking the action to implement that, but we're taking the action to move it along so we can get the recommendations back, which I think we should. I mean, it's a very valid issue to be raised. I just wanted to make sure that we have ample time to examine it before we decide. So this is simply to have them proceed with a plan to submit to us, right? Am I right, Ms. Smith? You look a little befuddled about what I'm saying, so I want to make sure I understand this right.
What I interpret is the action steps to implement and bring the programs into our department. We have spent the last 2 years identifying which programs are necessary to come to our department, so we don't need to study that anymore.
Except that the action steps have to still be approved
Yes.
before the implement
Yes.
actually takes place.
Yes.
Okay, that's...
Okay.
Mr. Hernandez.
Mr. President, members of the council, I just wanted to bring some clarity as to what we're really doing here. When we talk about the human service delivery system, there's a whole process that's going on right now where we brought in some experts from UCLA, we have community-based organizations, we have foundations who are basically working on the request for proposals for human service delivery system. Now, what is important at this time is that the advocates for the different types of priorities participate in that process. You see, because that process is what's going to determine what percentage of funding we as a city set aside from the block grant to deal with what human services. And so when you're talking about the 14 programs or the 14 million, that is basically something that we can't dictate or set aside with clear knowledge because we don't know what that human service delivery RFP process is going to establish as priorities. Now, I'm trying to explain it because when it comes to the block grant, there always seems to be a lot of confusion as to under whose jurisdiction it comes under. Now, for this chair, there is no confusion when we deal with the human service delivery system. And I'm just trying to explain it because I think this motion is a little premature in that it's the human service delivery RFP that's going to determine the priorities. And in those priorities, services to seniors comes out as something that should be funded, and at what percentage. At that time, the programs will be developed to basically satisfy that need. And so I'm trying to explain it because as we set those priorities, we have a process in which we go to do that. And then once those priorities are set, the RFP is released for that programming to satisfy those priorities. We might decide that we want to spend a lot of the human service delivery system dealing with the welfare to work, youth, seniors, housing, and that is basically what's going on in terms of an outside process that this council at this time is not participating in. And so it's not like we have set programs set aside for the Department of Aging. Those set programs, the Department of Aging basically filled out applications and grants to try and establish and to continue under its wings so that they could get funding for. But when you're talking about the human service delivery system and the amounts from the block grant, The reality is, it depends on what this process will result in, what the CAB board will recommend, and what we as a council at that policy statement, period, will decide, and then we will be determining the program that goes with it.
Pierre, did you want to be heard?
I did. Mr. President, members, I think, with due respect, this is not a premature motion, it's a timely motion. Mr. Hernandez raises what is in some ways the crux of the matter, and that is, how do we know how much money to shift from CDD's auspices over to aging? And that is what is underway right now. Part of this report back will discuss exactly how to deal with that question. Mr. Hernandez points out that for the upcoming year, the social services priorities within that system have yet to be determined. And what the two departments have been working with is the existing allocation of funds. And that's fine, that's a fair point. But at some point, we do have to freeze a moment in time, identify some percentage of the money that is attributed to these programs, and assure, at least as a percentage basis, a constant funding stream. But all that is to set aside the most important issue, and that is, we don't have right now in the city a good way to evaluate and compare one program ostensibly serving seniors with another, and ascertain whether we want to elevate one program to a higher level priority or another, because those programs are spread eagle between two different departments under two different sets of leaders and so forth. And we as a council don't even address those issues at the same time, at the same moment. And that's not good. And as we move in the Bridges program and elsewhere to qualitatively determining what's better and what's worse, and making some real good comprehensive determinations as to where our scarce tax dollars should go, this needs to be part of it, particularly as seniors in this city grow greater in number, particularly as frail seniors become larger in number in this city. So I urge we at least take the minimal step of moving these reports forward. We can always decide later on what to do with them.
Alders.
Yes, Mr. President, with your permission, I have a videotape that I understand is all ready to go that I'd like for the members to see for just a second, please.
Okay, so we just haven't done it.
Thank you very much. Please let the record reflect they can be brief. We're starting a new trend. Yes, sir.
That was Frida's presentation, I think. I've heard the general manager give up to now. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, Rita.
Question of consolidating your programs dealing with seniors in the Department of Aging. It seems like that would be a more efficient place for them to be. What is the status of those discussions at this point?
We've had several discussions with the Department of Aging, categorizing programs into three different groups: the ones that have aging programs as an element of what the agency does, those where it's their primary responsibility, and those where there are facilities that we manage that are aging related. And we're in the process of trying to sort out what's the best management structure for that. One of the issues that sort of surrounds that is if that we go back out to bid for the entire human services delivery system in the next 6 months. Do we go through the process of transitioning programs, or do we simply wait to the RFP process to completed, give those funds to the aging department and let them initiate contracts? So we're in the process of those discussions at the moment.
Well, it seems to me a much more efficient operation to have the aging programs consolidated into the Department of Aging. The LA Bridges program, what's the status of that?
The proposals have been submitted. The city task force consisting of the police department, the mayor's office of criminal justice planning, LA Unified, our staff.
Council members, I brought that tape to show you that Mr. Anderson, this was the budget hearing in 1997, a year ago. And we had this same discussion with Mr. Anderson, and none of these things have taken place. I would like to see, we talked about the consolidation of the Department of Aging. It's been on the table now for a couple of years. This will be going into the third year. It doesn't seem to me that there's a real intent to consolidate these things. And I'd like to see that we move forward on this transition, all the programs in to the Department of Aging, Now, not 6 months. Last year, Mr. Anderson said 6 months. It's a year later, and it hasn't happened. Nothing has happened, just more discussion and discussion. I'd like to see these programs transferred now with 12 months of full funding for the programs, and then we can, I think, do a better job of administering the funds and keeping track with the evaluations. And I am dismayed to see that it hasn't moved off the position where it was a year ago. So, council members, I'm urging you to do this, and in Budget Committee, I ask that this full funding go with these programs and that it be done now, and I ask you to vote aye on this at this point.
Mr. Hernandez?
Yeah, Mr. President, Mr. Violante could please join people up front. Members of the council, what I want you to understand is that I think all of us want the human delivery service system to be addressed and for a new RFP to go out. And we're also creating the measures of accountability with that delivery system. Now, because we want that, and what I want us all to understand is that this is happening right now. You see, and I want Mr. Fuhrer and the Department of Aging to understand how important their input is right now in regards to the task force. It's not we as a council that's going to determine those priorities and the percentages. It's going to be this task force. And I asked Mr. Violante to join you because it's been the mayor's office working with the community development department, working with my council office, and basically making sure we put a task force together that's going to address these needs with a time frame. Within 3 months, that RFP will be out. And unless you're giving your testimony at this time, what we might be transferring to you is programs that aren't going to have any funding. And so I'm trying to make you aware of where you are in the process, because this RFP is going to go out. That RFP is going to determine what percentage of our human services is going to deal with people who are seniors. And for what purposes do we want to direct that money? And so I am urging the chair of the committee to understand that this is where he should be participating with the task force, if this is a major concern. Now, I have concerns for seniors also, and so I will be expressing my concerns. But I am saying, and the reason I asked the mayor's office to be there, is the mayor's office also has the same concerns when we're talking about the human service delivery system. It's supposed to go out for 3 years, for 3-year funding cycles. This is the beginning of year 6, you see? And it wasn't the mayor who said, we're going to grab this thing by the horns, we're going to make it happen. The task force has been appointed, it's doing its work now, it's taking testimony now, and I just want to make you aware of that. We can transfer this stuff, but what I'm trying to explain to you is you might not be transferring any funding. And it's because the reality is it might not be there. So I care about the senior issue, and I'm trying to make you aware that this is the time when we put the input, not as a council, but rather as priorities for the city as a whole, taking it into context as priorities for the city as a whole, and I just wanted everybody to be aware of that, because that's how the process works in terms of the block grant request in the first place.
Okay. Now we have item 191 before, so prepare the roll.
So I'm asking for no vote.
Prepare the roll and tabulate the vote.
13 ayes, 2 noes.
Okay, that is approved. Next item is 92. No, did we? No, we approved that, I think. 94. Who called 94 special? Mr. Wax, did you call 94 special? Here, press your button.
No, I don't. Other than perhaps, as long as you're here, you might tell us what it is, briefly.
Well, the department has a formal council-approved task force right now looking at administrative efficiencies, and we've done such things.
Within your department?
That is correct.
Okay.
We're bringing in outside experts.
Nonprofits of the world to deal with the bureaucracy of the department, because there's a whole labyrinth of rules and regs to comply with, some of which waste time.
What's the status of the task force?
We have about a half dozen major things that we've already implemented, such as electronic invoicing, and there are about another 8 or 9 things the task force is looking at. We're including agencies as part of the task force.
So you've got this in place. You're not, this is not just to develop it. It's in place, and you've actually looked at several things, and you've got an agenda for the remaining items?
We're formulating the agenda for the second phase. That's what this is about.
And you expect to complete that when?
About 6 months.
Okay.
Okay, prepare the roll on 94. Tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
That is approved. 95.
Yeah, we need to explain that.
95, there was a detailed discussion of our commitments to MOS 3. The funds are being set aside in the budget for it. We were asked, or Transportation was asked, to come back with a detailed report in case that doesn't move forward. How might be transportation needs be met better, for example, in dash services? This is just a request for a report. There's no change in the budget, no change in commitments at this point in time. There's a concern, though, that it may be delayed, and this would help the process.
Mr. Alatorre?
If, Mr. Wax, did you have any questions? No. I'd ask for an aye vote.
Oh, man, come on, Mike. I'm sorry, Richard, but I don't know what the MOS 3 projects that they're talking about could be.
Eastern Extension and Mid-Cities and the Valley.
I thought it also included North Hollywood.
Yes.
It includes North Hollywood, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, and are we taking a policy position here?
We're not making any changes at this point in time. This would keep the money in the budget for all three portions of MOS 3, which is Mid-Cities, East Los Angeles, and the San Fernando Valley. But just in case it's delayed or it's changed, it asks Transportation to report back with ideas how the money might be better spent for other transportation.
Okay.
Mr. President, members.
Dr. Holden.
You got that right. Mr. President, members, Richard, I have some concerns, and I don't know whether or not by voting aye on this would eliminate my concerns. First of all, MOS 3 included Mid-City in the full funding agreement, and when I go a little straight, then you tell me. It also included the parts of the valley which is under discussion. But the East Line was not included in the original full funding agreement between the federal government, MTA, etc. 2 years subsequent to the approval of the full funding agreement, someone caused the full funding agreement to be amended, Mr. Alatorre, 2 years after the fact, and the Secretary of Transportation, Mr. Pena, signed off on that. And by doing so, they scuttled Mid-City. Don't tell me, Ms. Richard. And they took the monies and they moved on the East Line that was earmarked for the Mid-City. When you were properly and appropriately informed and made aware of the fact that you could not fund Mid-City, the Blue Line to Pasadena, Mr. White told you that, Franklin White, remember? And the East Line. And now this thing is all bogged down where you'll get no line. And I tell you the kind of signal we'll be sending back to Washington, which they don't want to hear anymore from us. If we can't get our act together, they'll stop all funding. Now I tell you that I'm not prepared to vote on this motion and then make it ironclad as to what our policy is going to be at this particular time. We'll in fact vote no. If you want to hold up on it to tomorrow or sometime where we can sit, I'm not going to vote for it. Okay? And I will lobby against any additional funds until such time that Mid-City is put back in its proper priority. That means we're not going to get together at all. Okay? Because what has happened with the East Line was an amendment to the full funding agreement which came after the fact, and you scuttled Mid-City. That's the district I represent. You did scuttle Mid-City. And I'm not about to vote for anything like that anymore. Not at all. I think it's unfair. And I don't want to give the rationale for the arguments that you use in order to do that, because everybody's represented in this city equally, move the previous question or not. You can shake your head, Richard, but sometimes the things that we do cause us more problems after the fact. It's almost like reapportionment. And what I mean by that, when you took that district, school board district, from the valley, and you moved it down here in the inner city, You lost the valley, now they want to secede. And I told you then it was going to happen. You do some radical things because you got the power to do it.
Okay, Mr. Holman.
And you make some mistakes, and that was the big one, and this was the big one.
I have the power to cut you off. Mr. Alatorre?
Mr. President and members, I don't know how you got the doctor of jurisprudence, but that's neither here nor there. Let me just say that it has nothing to do with what Mr. Holden was talking about. This is an agreement that was reached by this council as to how we are going to reimburse MTA. That money that has been put aside for, that should have gone for cost overruns for MOS2, but what we did is that we decided that we're going to use it for the MOS3, which includes mid-cities. A full funding agreement that the Eastern Extension got, they got it because they were ready. Mid-cities was not gotten because the alignment had changed. That's all. No, they put the Eastern Extension on the back burner too, Mr. Holden. But you know what? It's my time. Thank you. So all this does is that it looks at, we ask the MTA, along with our people, to go to meet with them, to talk to them about what it would be appropriate, not just for mid-cities, not just for the Eastern Extension, not just for North Hollywood, but also for transit-dependent communities, of which your district, as well as others, are transit-dependent. That's what it is, Nate. It has nothing to do with what you were saying, plus you're wrong. I'd ask for an aye vote.
Mr. Burnson.
He doesn't want to hear the truth. The fact of the matter is that...
Mr. Holden.
Hey, Burnson, I got a comment. I got a right to comment.
Prepare the roll on the previous question. Tabulate the vote.
15 ayes.
Okay, that previous question is passed. We have the item before us. Prepare the roll on 95.
Record me no on the last one.
No, we're now, vote no now. Prepare the roll on 95. Tabulate the vote.
No.
That is approved.
That no will go all the way back to Washington and cut your money off, Richard.
I made him chairman of that powerful committee that...
Forthwith to the mayor, Mr. President.
Next item would be 98. Mr. Burnson, you call 98 special?
Yeah, just for the purpose, how many years are we going to charge people for these containers? It's supposed, we don't charge a sewer service charge supposedly, but what we're doing is we're charging, this has become an annual fee, or an annual rental, or whatever you want to call it. And I just want to know if there any limitation. Is this forever, or what is it?
This is a sanitation equipment charge. It pays for not only the containers, but all of the refuse trucks and all of the maintenance of those trucks. It's been in place for some time. There was a sunset that would reduce it from $6 to $4.50. This would remove that sunset for this coming year.
Okay, I'm going to vote no. You just go ahead and...
Okay. Prepare the roll on item number 98. Hal, go outside. Go outside. We need to, got to pass this today. It's an ordinance.
Are we going to tabulate the vote?
Rudy. All right, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
11 ayes, 4 noes.
Okay, it goes over 1 week.
So it still has to come back.
Next item.
It's the refuse fee continuation.
Burnson, but it counted. You try to sneak out again.
Yeah. No, you recorded a no vote.
You recorded no. You tried to sneak out so you couldn't count his vote.
Nathan, you're a doctor now. Just try to act accordingly.
Mr. President, just a point of information. Since we obviously don't meet a week from today, what's calendar will this be on a week from Tuesday? Okay.
Okay. The next item would be 100. Mr. Savornich. All right. Prepare the roll on 100. Tabulate the vote.
14 ayes, 1 no.
That is approved. Susan Brooks will be after you on that vote. Okay, we have 105 is next. 105, who calls 105 special? Joel? Can we, somebody explain this?
This was a whole series of council files that were handled during the committee's discussion. There's a number of them in here. I think they were all pretty much debated and covered and a decision made.
Any discussion? If not, prepare the roll on 105. Tabulate the vote.
No.
15 ayes.
That is approved. Next item. Mr. Alatorre, we have completed the committee report.
We have some ordinances, I believe, that have to be acted upon. Did we ever act upon the ordinances?
Yes, you have.
We did, okay. I would like to, we have time. I think we should go through the motions that have been introduced and deal with them appropriately, and hopefully we can end the process today, if at all possible.
Well, we have, I don't know how many more we have. We have 15 on our desk, my desk so far.
We have,
and
I think a lot of them can be appropriately dealt with.
Well,
and
yeah, you want to round off the corners? Is that what you want to do?
What's that?
Round off the corners?
No, I think that we ought to have some discussion on it.
Okay, let's take item number 1 first. Jackie Goldberg.